Chapter 688. 9 Immortals Spirit Binding Formation. Yang Hongwu's face was very solemn. This guy was really serious. Yang Hongwu felt a terrifying threat coming from the warrior formed by the Ru. The long sword in his hand seemed to be able to destroy a person's mind and soul. "Master, let me do it." A voice rang out in Yang Hongwu's mind. This was the weapon spirit of the Immortal Pagoda. Yang Hongwu was overjoyed. The weapon spirit of the Immortal Pagoda had awakened. This meant that his fighting strength would increase greatly. This was all thanks to the 9 Pearl of Demon Saint Kong Chiu. Without it, who knew how long it would take for the weapon spirit of the Immortal Pagoda to awaken? Yang Hongwu nodded. "You're the weapon spirit of the Immortal Pagoda?" "Yes, Master." "How confident are you?" Yang Hongwu asked. 100%. The weapon spirit nodded. 100% confident. Yang Hongwu was shocked. He did not expect the weapon spirit of the Immortal Pagoda to be so confident. One had to know that the strength of Demon Saint Kong Chiu was extremely strong. At his peak, he was probably stronger than the real Saint Kong Chiu. It was just that he had been sealed here for so many years. Furthermore, most of his strength had been sealed. His strength was greatly weakened. Otherwise, he would have been finished long ago. The weapon spirit of the Immortal Pagoda turned into a ray of white light. A beautiful fairy appeared in front of him. In her right hand, there was a small pagoda. This small pagoda looked exactly the same as the 9 Heavens Mysterious Pagoda. 9 Immortals Spirit Binding Formation. She shouted, and 9 beams of white light shot out from the Immortal Pagoda. The 9 beams of white light transformed into 9 immortals, who formed a huge formation. This formation had a mysterious power, and seemed to interweave into a huge heavenly net. This heavenly net enveloped Devil Saint Kong Chiu, and it kept shrinking, trapping him and the other immortal warrior. As the heavenly net shrunk, it absorbed the power of the warrior. Demon Saint Kong Chiu and the warrior attacked the heavenly net madly. However, they did not have the slightest bit of strength to break it. Yang Hongwu was shocked. He didn't expect the Immortal Tower's artifact spirit to be so powerful after awakening. What kind of power did this net contain? Even the great devil sage Kong Chiu was trapped, seemingly unable to resist at all. He was too powerful. "Bastard, how is it possible for you to unleash the power of the 9th Heaven Mysterious Tower with your strength?" Devil Saint Kong Chiu was extremely unwilling to accept this. He had lost a great deal of his strength, and had expended a great deal of energy to transmit a portion of his strength out. Although it was only a portion, his true body that was sealed within the grand formation had expended 100 times more energy. Therefore, although this doppelganger only had the power of a venerable, in fact, the power consumed by his original body had far exceeded this level. Every time he launched an attack, it would consume a lot of power. The power consumed was almost equivalent to the full power attack of a great sage. Within the seal, his original body could only absorb a very small amount of energy. Every time he launched an attack, he would need at least 100 years to recover. A single attack had consumed 100 years of accumulated strength. He had only attacked Yang Hongwu a few times, but he had already consumed 1,000 years of accumulated strength. If he couldn't take down this guy, then the consumption would be too great. Not only would he lose 2 9 pearls, but he would also consume a great amount of energy. That was the energy that he had accumulated for thousands of years. How could he accept this? Demonic salvation. Demon Saint Kong Chiu roared. His entire person turned into a giant demon. His face was ferocious as he began to chant some ancient incantations. These ancient incantations reminded Yang Hongwu of the Buddhist sect's cultivation techniques. Salvation, the Buddhist sect also had a cultivation technique that could convert demons. However, the cultivation technique that the Demon Saint Kong Chiu was currently using was similar. However, the Buddhist sect converted evil people and devils into Buddhas, while the Demon Saint Kong Chiu converted ordinary cultivators into devils and made them his slaves. The difference between the two was huge. "You want to convert me?" A cold light flashed in Yang Hongwu's eyes. That was a dream. If his primordial spirit clone was demonized, it would definitely have a huge impact on his original body. If there was really no other way, his primordial spirit could only self-destruct. Yang Hongwu's original body moved again. This time, Yang Hanwu poured all his energy into the Immortal Pagoda to activate it. In addition to the awakening of the weapon spirit, he poured his energy into the Immortal Pagoda and launched a powerful attack. Heaven Origin Strike. A terrifying attack appeared in Yang Hongwu's mind. This was a terrifying secret attack of the Immortal Pagoda. Its power was boundless. Yang Hongwu felt his energy pouring into the Immortal Pagoda at a terrifying speed. It was as if a dam had been opened. Boom! At the top of the Immortal Pagoda, a white beam of light shot out. This white beam of light seemed to be able to pierce through time and space and shatter the firmament of the universe. All the obstacles in front of him were shattered and penetrated. This light pillar extended towards the great demon Saint Kong Qiu at an extremely fast speed. The attack landed on Devil Sage Kong Qiu's body. Boom! With a crisp sound, Kong Qiu's body was instantly pierced through. In the next moment, his entire body exploded. That boundless power instantly swept through the entire area. Boom! Rumble! Loud noises kept coming out. In this space, those weak demonic creatures, those demonized wyverns, and so on all died under the impact of this terrifying power. In this narrow space, some of the powerful savage beasts and ferocious beasts were unable to withstand this terrifying power. Even Yang Hanwu himself, who was under the protection of the Immortal Pagoda, suffered a huge backlash. His body swayed and he spat out blood. Ah! Devil Saint Kong Qiu's original body in the seal trembled and spat out a mouthful of blood. His eyes turned red and he was extremely furious. He was the great demon saint, Kong Qiu. His strength was boundless, and he was much more powerful than Saint Kong himself. Now, he was actually injured by a little kid who had not even reached the venerable realm. Aggrieved, it was really too aggrieved. In the depths of the chaos, a white-bearded old man opened his eyes on a floating immortal mountain outside the 9 majors and 10 lands. The person I've been waiting for has finally appeared. I hope you won't make me wait too long. The white-bearded old man didn't have any aura on him, as if he didn't exist. However, his eyes were extremely deep, like a boundless black hole with no end in sight. This old man was none other than the real Confucius saint, Confucius. Chapter 689. Immortal Pagoda's weapon spirit, how dare you injure me? You deserve to die. At this moment, Demon Saint Kong Qiu was like a furious lion that had been injured. Humph. You're just a trace of demonic consciousness. How dare you be so arrogant? The weapon spirit of the Immortal Pagoda snorted, not taking him seriously at all. If not for the formation seal, I could have killed you easily. What a sharp-tongued little girl. If you were at your peak, I might have been wary of you. But right now, you've only just recovered a little. If not for the fact that I can't release my strength, you wouldn't have been able to escape from my hands. After the clone was destroyed, Demon Saint Kong Qiu looked at the weapon spirit of the Immortal Pagoda from within the seal and shouted out in anger. Let's go! Yang Hanwu heaved a sigh of relief. If not for the awakening of the Immortal Pagoda's weapon spirit, he would have been in trouble. Even though he had no problem protecting his original body with his strength, he would definitely not be able to protect his Yuan spirit clone. If his Yuan spirit clone was damaged, his strength would definitely decrease. After a month, the 5 extreme space would not have enough confidence to deal with Zetian. Master, this fella is just an arrow at the end of its flight. Should we let him go just like that? Furthermore, there's a huge spirit vein below. If we can get our hands on this spirit vein, my strength will be able to take another step forward. Master, you will also be able to increase your strength by quite a bit. You might even be able to reach the half-step honorable realm. The weapon spirit of the Immortal Pagoda said. Do you have any way to break the seal? Let's take another step back. After breaking the seal, do you have any way to deal with him? Yang Hongwu asked. Yang Hanwu did not like to do things that he was not confident in. Especially at this critical moment, he could not afford to be careless. If any accident were to happen, it would be troublesome. Master, this seal, perhaps Master's seal-breaking pill could break it. The weapon spirit of the Immortal Pagoda said. What about after breaking it? This fella's clone is already so powerful after breaking through the seal. How terrifying would his real body be? Even though my seal-breaking pill can break through the seal, I don't have absolute confidence in dealing with this fella. Yang Hanwu shook his head and sighed. Although Yang Hanwu wanted this spiritual vein very much, once he got it, not only could he fully recover Sherbauer, but he could also upgrade the Immortal Pagoda and improve his cultivation. However, he wasn't 100% sure that he would succeed. In fact, he didn't even have a 50% chance of success. Who knew if this demon Saint Kong Chiu was a great emperor or not? If it were a great emperor, breaking the seal would be tantamount to courting death. Although the Immortal Pagoda was powerful, the owner of the Immortal Pagoda wasn't strong enough. He couldn't unleash the full power of the Immortal Pagoda. He estimated that he couldn't even unleash 10% of its power. Thus, he couldn't deal with Devil Saint Kong Chiu. A great emperor-level expert, even if his cultivation base was greatly damaged and he was seriously injured, was not someone to be trifled with. At the great emperor level, even if he only had 10% of his cultivation base left, he could still easily crush a great saint. And if he unleashed his full strength, coupled with the demon exterminating finger and the power of the Immortal Pagoda, he could only deal with a venerable realm devil at most. He was far from being a match for a saint. There's a way. The Immortal Pagoda's spirit said. What is it? Yang Hanwu asked with joy. Put the entire Earth Demon Mountain into the Immortal Pagoda's space. However, this way, Master won't be able to use the Immortal Pagoda. Before Master's strength reaches the Saint Realm, there's no way to activate the Immortal Pagoda. The Immortal Pagoda's spirit said crisply. Put the entire Earth Demon Mountain into the Immortal Pagoda? When Yang Hanwu heard this, he was very surprised. The entire Earth Demon Mountain was in fact a huge seal, and the foundation of this seal was this huge spirit vein. In addition to the ancient and mysterious restrictions and seals, the Devil Saint Kong Chiu was sealed inside this place. As for the Earth Demon Emperor, it seemed to be just a little guy attached. Yes, the Immortal Pagoda's space is very big, but Master's current strength is too weak. Coupled with the fact that the Immortal Pagoda is incomplete, although you can put the Earth Demon Mountain into the Immortal Pagoda's space, it will consume a huge amount of energy to suppress the Earth Demon Mountain. That way, the Immortal Pagoda won't have any other power to help Master. In addition, the Immortal Pagoda will have to divide a part of its spiritual power. The Immortal Pagoda's spirit said in a very serious tone. Yang Hanwu understood that the Immortal Pagoda's spirit meant that he could put the Earth Demon Mountain into the Immortal Pagoda along with the spiritual vein. However, in this way, the Immortal Pagoda would only be able to suppress the Earth Demon Mountain and would not be able to use it. Not only that, Yang Hanwu would also need to divide a part of his spiritual power to help the Immortal Pagoda suppress the Earth Demon Mountain. When Yang Hanwu's strength reached the Saint Realm, he would be able to use the Immortal Pagoda again and display its true power to refine the entire Earth Demon Mountain. This is not good. Yang Hanwu shook his head and said, the Earth Demon Mountain will not run away from here. When I have enough strength, I can come here again. It will be the same. Sealing the Earth Demon Mountain in the Immortal Pagoda was completely meaningless. His cultivation would not be able to increase, and he would have to divide a part of his spiritual power. The gains would not make up for the losses. In a month's time, he would go to the 5 extreme space and face Zetian. Zetian had the help of the old ancestor of the Z family. In addition, Zetian's strength was extremely terrifying. In this ancient domain, he had a special connection with his original body and was favored by the luck of the Devil Dao. His strength would increase at a terrifying rate. He would not be slower than Yang Hanwu, and might even be faster. If Yang Hanwu had to divide a part of his spiritual power to suppress the Earth Demon Mountain, it would be impossible for him to catch up with Zetian. Moreover, this Earth Demon Mountain was not his real goal. His real goal was the ancestral Magi Palace and the Witch World. He had the Heaven Punishment battle chart and that special map. When he entered the Witch World and obtained the inheritance of the ancestral Magi Palace, his strength might increase tremendously. He might even be able to directly break through the God Realm and enter the Venerable Realm. Once he entered the Venerable Realm, his strength would undergo an earth-shaking change. At that time, he would have the confidence to face Zetian. Master, I can continuously refine the power of the Earth Demon Mountain to increase my strength. When the Immortal Pagoda's artifact spirit heard Yang Hongwu's refusal, it became somewhat anxious. If it did not obtain the Earth Demon Mountain, it would not be easy for it to recover to its peak. It did not know how long it would take. Chapter 690. The Calamity of the Past. It's too risky. Yang Hongwu refused. This was too risky. In this critical situation, Yang Hongwu would not agree without absolute certainty. If something happened, it would be too bad. Master, I'm really confident. No need to say more. Yang Hongwu waved his hand and refused. The Immortal Tower's artifact spirit was also helpless. Although it wanted to take the entire Earth Demon Mountain into the Immortal Tower, Yang Hongwu's refusal made it helpless. After all, Yang Hongwu was now the owner of the Immortal Tower and had gained the approval of the Immortal Tower. Although it was an artifact spirit, it could only obey. If it had awakened before Yang Hongwu recognized it as its owner, it would definitely not be like this. However, it also knew that if it wasn't for its master, Yang Hongwu, it didn't know when it would be able to wake up. After Yang Hongwu finished speaking, he flew up and flew out of the cave. You little bastard, do you really want to die in the Death Mountain? Great Devil Saint Kong Chiu shouted, if you want to enter the Witch World, how about we make a deal? Great Devil Saint Kong Chiu's words made Yang Hongwu stop. Although Yang Hongwu knew that this guy was definitely up to no good and would definitely not help him, he still couldn't help but stop when he heard his words. It was naturally good to be able to get some information. What do you mean? Cooperation? Do you have a way to send me into the Witch World? Yang Hongwu asked. If he could really send him into the Witch World, it would not be impossible for them to cooperate. Of course, he had to be careful if he cooperated with him. This guy was very cunning and would always plot against him, trying to take over his body. You have the Celestial Pagoda and the Implement Spirit has awakened. However, even with the help of the Celestial Pagoda, it is still very difficult for you to find the entrance to the Sorcerer World and enter the Sorcerer World. It can be said that the probability of success is less than 1%. There is an 80 to 90% chance that you will die in the Death Mountain. However, if you let me out and cooperate with me, I can guarantee that I will bring you into the Sorcerer World, said Kong Chiu. If I let you out, you'll bring me into the Witch World. Yang Hongwu squinted his eyes and said, the Mountain of Death is full of dangers. There's only a slim chance of survival, and there might even be no chance of survival. How can you bring me safely into the Sorcerer World? Also, how can I believe you? Just now, you wanted to possess me and kill me. How can I believe your words? Yang Hongwu himself was not an idiot. This was called empty talk without any evidence. If he believed it so easily, then he would really be a fool. Of course I can bring you into the Witch World. Kong Chiu said, although I am not from the Sorcerer tribe, I have a deep understanding of the Witch World. I have entered the Witch World in the past. As he spoke, Devil Saint Kong Chiu tossed out an item. This item easily pierced through the seals sealing Devil Saint Kong Chiu, as though it wasn't affected in the slightest. It was a lid. This lid was very familiar to Yang Hongwu. This is the lid of my heavenly sorcerer jar. At this moment, Chiyu's voice rang in Yang Hongwu's ears. This lid was the lid of the heavenly sorcerer jar, a treasure of the ancestral sorcerer palace. It was a set with the heavenly sorcerer jar. Back then, the heavenly sorcerer jar was a very powerful sorcerer treasure. Its power was not below that of the Sky Punishment Axe, and even comparable to the monster-slaying sword. When the sorcerer tribe was still alive, the sorcerer tribe and the demon tribe both refined supreme treasures. One of them was the Wu-killing sword, which was refined by the demon tribe. It was specially made to deal with the sorcerer tribe. It could break the supreme sorcerer body of the sorcerer tribe. It should be known that the sorcerer tribe's body was very strong. Although they did not cultivate their primordial spirit, their bodies were very strong. The other treasure was the monster-slaying sword, which was refined by the sorcerer tribe. As the name suggested, the monster-slaying sword was also refined to deal with the demon tribe. The monster-slaying sword was much more lethal to the demon tribe than to ordinary people. Although the Wu-slaying sword and the monster-slaying sword were specially made to deal with the two races, it did not mean that they were ineffective against other warriors and humans. Their lethality against human warriors and other creatures was also very terrifying. This is something I got from the sorcerer world. It's a sorcerer treasure. Although it's only a part of it, if you can find the other part, it'll be a powerful treasure. It's a pity that it's just a defective item. Demon Saint Kong Chio shook his head and sighed. This sorcerer treasure could ignore the prohibition spell. If he got a complete sorcerer treasure, he would not be sealed here by the prohibition spell. Yang Hanwu looked at the lid in his hand and was surprised. He did not expect to get the other part of the heavenly sorcerer pot. This meant that he had the complete heavenly sorcerer pot. The complete heavenly sorcerer pot was very powerful. It could summon countless wizard insects to fight for him without any restrictions. As long as Yang Hongwu's spiritual power was strong enough, he could summon wizard insects without any restrictions. In this way, he would have a terrifying advantage in a battle, especially in a large-scale battle. This was a truly terrifying weapon, a weapon that could kill enemies. In the past, Chiyu relied on this sorcerer treasure in his Chiyu saber, which was called the Tiger Soul Saber. With the heavenly sorcerer pot and the Tiger Soul Saber, he was invincible. Even the Yellow Emperor Shen Yuan almost died in his hands. This showed how terrifying the heavenly sorcerer pot and the Tiger Soul Saber were. Chiyu, is the lid of the heavenly sorcerer pot really in the sorcerer world? Yang Hanwu asked. Yang Hanwu did not hear about the sorcerer world from Chiyu. Now that Chiyu had taken the initiative to appear, Yang Hanwu asked him. Yang Hanwu and Chiyu were actually in a business relationship. They were not master and slave. Therefore, if Chiyu was unwilling to tell him, Yang Hanwu would not ask. Yes. Chiyu said, back then, our 12 ancestors of sorcery came to this plane and built the sorcerer world. It was unprecedentedly powerful. Not only did we recover our cultivation, but we also recovered the prestige and prosperity we had in the untainted 3 realms. Our sorcerer world was unprecedentedly powerful. Even the demon tribe avoided us. However, something big happened later, which put the entire sorcerer world in danger. It was because of this crisis that the demon tribe started a war. Our sorcerer world and the demon realm suffered heavy losses in that war. The sorcerer world and the demon realm were sealed because of this. I don't know what the sorcerer world is like now. Chiyu's voice was full of worry. What happened back then? Yang Hanwu asked curiously. Chapter 691. The entrance to the witch realm. I won't talk about what happened back then. You'll know in the future. Chiyu didn't seem to want to talk about it. Yang Hanwu couldn't do anything about it. If Chiyu didn't want to talk about it, he couldn't ask anymore. Then tell me, can this guy's words be trusted? Yang Hanwu asked. I don't know. When I left the witch realm, I suffered a huge blow. My cultivation plummeted and I was sealed in the heavenly witch jar. I barely managed to survive and ended up in this state. As for the rest, I don't know anything. Chiyu smiled bitterly. Back then, he was a genius who led countless people. He didn't expect that he would end up like this after being defeated. This was also a part of the past that he couldn't bear to look back on. Then do you know how to enter the witch realm? Yang Hanwu asked. I don't know. My memory isn't complete. The entrance to the witch realm is indeed in the Death Mountain, but I don't know the exact location and how to enter. Chiyu shook his head and said, Moreover, when we left the Witch Realm, the entrance to the Witch Realm was also moved for the sake of the Witch Realm's safety. The entrance to the Witch Realm is always moving. As for the exact location, it's hard for anyone to know unless it's the Witch Ancestor. The entrance to the Witch Realm was actually moving. This news shocked Yan Hongwu. Does that mean the entrance to the Demon Realm is also moving? Yan Hongwu asked. Since the entrance to the Witch Realm was moving, then the entrance to the Demon Realm must be moving too. Yes, the entrance to the Demon Realm is the same as the Witch Realm. It's just that I don't know what happened later. My memory isn't complete and my cultivation is far from what it used to be. So, I want to find the Witch Realm through you, find the Witch Ancestor's palace, and get my memory back and my cultivation back. Qiyu said. Qiyu's true strength was probably far beyond the Heaven Witch Realm. He might even be a great witch. However, all of this was unknown. For Yan Hongwu, this world was getting more and more interesting. He had been in this world for so many years, but he had only uncovered the tip of the iceberg. If he wanted to unveil the veil of this world and see the true face of this world, it seemed to be very far away. He did not know how long it would take. Demon Saint Kong Chiu, you know a lot of things, but how can you make me believe that you really know the entrance to the witch world and can really bring me in? As far as I know, the entrance to the sorcerer's realm is mobile and constantly changing. What ability do you have to allow me to enter the sorcerer's realm safely? Yan Hongwu said calmly. After obtaining some information from Qiyu, Yan Hongwu was no longer as clueless as before about the entrance to the sorcerer realm. Therefore, Yan Hongwu was even more confident when he spoke. You actually know that the entrance to the witch world is moving? Kong Chiu was a little surprised. He looked at Yan Hongwu and said, it seems like you know a lot of things. That's right, the entrance to the witch world is indeed moving and constantly changing. However, I have something that can freely travel between the witch world and the ancient domain. What is it? If you really have such a treasure, why would you be sealed here? Wouldn't you use that treasure to leave this place? Yan Hongwu was not so easily fooled. If he really had such a powerful spatial treasure, wouldn't he use it to leave the seal? One must know that a treasure that could easily travel between different planes was very powerful. The witch world had its own unique seal and its own laws. Just like the demon world, it was not easy to travel between these planes. Ordinary treasures absolutely could not do it. Even some spatial emperor weapons could not do it. Therefore, Yan Hongwu was very suspicious of Kong Chiu's words. In order to attract him and make him let him out, this guy had resorted to all sorts of methods. He had said everything he could think of. Of course, if he really had such a thing, it would save him a lot of trouble to enter the witch world. After all, the Death Mountain was notorious. It was very risky to enter the Death Mountain. Even if Yan Hongwu had various life-saving methods, he might not be 100% safe. Yan Hongwu did not even have 70% confidence. You're too naive. If it's so easy to leave the seal, I would have left long ago. Why would I still stay here? Kong Chiu said, moreover, the thing that can freely enter and exit the witch world is just a token of the witch world. It can only communicate with the laws of the witch world. It can't take me out of here. Even so, why should I let you out? How do I know that you won't go back on your words after I let you out and deal with me? Yan Hongwu said coldly, you're much stronger than me. I don't have the confidence to deal with you. Although Yan Hongwu's talent was outstanding and his combat strength was shocking, compared to Kong Chiu, the difference in strength was too big. Even if his cultivation method could suppress Kong Chiu and weaken his combat strength, the difference in strength was too big. He was still not Kong Chiu's opponent. Therefore, Yan Hongwu would not easily take the risk and put himself in danger. You don't believe me? I can understand. One must always be on guard against others. Even the people closest to one can turn against one another because of some benefits or powerful treasures. I admire this very much. If it wasn't for my carelessness back then, I wouldn't have fallen to this state today. Kong Chiu said, if you agree to cooperate with me and let me out, I can make a Heaven Dao blood oath. Then, you won't have to worry. Oath? I don't believe you. Yang Hanwu said indifferently, if you want me to believe you, it's not impossible. Unless you hand over a trace of your soul imprint. You? Kong Qiu's face darkened. Don't be so shameless. You want me to be your slave? Who do you think you are? Are you one of the three clear sages, Tao ancestor Hongjun, or the great god Pangu? Who do you think you are? I've already given you so much face, and you want me to be your slave? You're too much. Kong Qiu was infuriated. This bastard actually wants me to hand over my soul imprint. What kind of joke is this? If I hand over my soul imprint, I will be controlled by him. Wouldn't that be the same as becoming his slave? That's absolutely impossible. I'm the great Confucius sage. How can I be controlled by a weak human? If you don't agree, then forget it. I have my own way to enter the witch world. You don't have to worry. Yang Hanwu said and was about to fly out, increasing his speed. Chapter 692. Devil Saint's scheme. You really agree? Yang Hanwu turned around and looked at Devil Saint Kong Qiu. Do you know that once you hand over a trace of your soul mark, your life and death will be in my hands? You'll become my slave. If I want you to live, you'll live. If I want you to die, you'll die. You won't be able to resist. I can hand over my soul mark, but you have to swear a heavenly Tao blood oath. If I don't threaten you, you can't use my soul mark to threaten me. Also, when you enter the witch world, you have to set me free. Devil Saint Kong Qiu said coldly. This is beneficial to both of us. I want to leave this place, and you want to enter the witch world. We'll both benefit from each other. Alright, hand over your soul mark first, then I'll open the seal. Yang Hanwu said. Swear a heavenly Tao blood oath first. Devil Saint Kong Qiu said. Alright. Yang Hanwu nodded and swore a heavenly Tao blood oath. After he swore the oath, Yang Hanwu felt an additional mark in the depths of his soul. That was the mark of the heavenly Tao blood oath. If he violated it, this mark would directly destroy his soul, causing him to die without a burial place. The heavenly Tao blood oath was extremely powerful. Unless one's strength surpassed the heavenly Tao and broke the shackles of the heavens and earth, reaching the realm of transcendence, the heavenly Tao blood oath would backfire on the person who violated it. In this world, even the strongest martial monarch, the God Refinement martial monarch, had yet to reach that level. Therefore, after seeing Yang Hanwu swore the heavenly Tao blood oath, Devil Saint Kong Qiu was no longer worried. Hand over your soul mark now, and I'll let you out. Yang Hanwu said. In fact, Yang Hanwu didn't have absolute confidence in breaking the seal. However, it seemed like breaking the seal could be done with the seal-breaking pill. If 1 pill wasn't enough, then 10 pills. If 10 pills weren't enough, then 100 pills. Yang Hongwu's alchemy level was also improving. Now that his strength had reached the God realm, his alchemy skills had also improved. Originally, Yang Hongwu's cultivation was only at the Tao pedestal realm. Now that he had reached the God realm, he was only one step away from becoming an 8th grade alchemist. Although there was only a fine line between an 8th grade alchemist and a 7th grade alchemist, it was not easy to become an 8th grade alchemist. Even if Yang Hanwu practiced the nature elixir scripture, it was still not easy. However, the pill scripture of good fortune was an alchemy technique that seized the fortune of heaven and earth. Although Yang Hanwu could not really become an 8th grade alchemist, he could use the alchemy technique of the pill scripture of good fortune to refine an 8th grade alchemist. Even if he could not refine an 8th grade alchemist, he could still refine an 8th grade elixir. The effect of the refined elixir would definitely not be worse than the effect of an ordinary 8th grade elixir. Even the elixir refined by Yang Hanwu was much more effective than the elixir refined by some ordinary 8th grade alchemist. Now, the restriction-breaking elixir refined by Yang Hanwu was definitely comparable to an 8th grade elixir. The seal in front of him had gone through countless years. Coupled with the impact of the Devil Saint Kong Qiu, it was much weaker than before. Therefore, Yang Hanwu was confident that he could use the restriction-breaking elixir to break the seal. The devil Saint Kong Chiu hesitated for a long time. Finally, he separated a soul imprint. With a strong Dharma power, he penetrated the seal and sent it out. Just sending out such a soul imprint made him consume a lot of energy. His face was pale. The seal was very powerful. The soul imprint that was sent out caused great damage to the devil Saint Kong Chiu. It was not an exaggeration to say that he was seriously injured. In order to be free, he had already given up his soul imprint. Why would he care about such a trivial injury? Once he got out, he would be free. It would not be difficult for him to recover his strength. If he continued to be sealed here, he did not know when he would have the chance. Moreover, the great calamity was coming. He could sense it. After all, as the devil Tao avatar of Confucius, if he could not even sense it, he would be too weak. In fact, there was a gap between the devil Saint Kong Chiu and the real Saint Kong. However, in terms of sensing the calamity, there was not much difference. In fact, he did not know that all of this was done by the real Saint Kong. After Yang Hanwu received the soul imprint of the devil Saint Kong Chiu, he controlled it. This soul imprint could control the life and death of the devil saint. As long as Yang Hanwu was willing, he could easily shatter the devil Saint Kong Chiu's soul. A cold light flashed in Yang Hongwu's eyes. When the soul imprint entered Yang Hongwu's sea of consciousness and was refined by Yang Hanwu was furious. There was a restriction in the soul imprint. This restriction was very hidden. If Yang Hanwu did not cultivate the Soul Refining Heart Sutra and the Yin-Yang Soul Lock Curse of the 9 Transformation Yin-Yang Harmony Art, it would be difficult for him to discover this restriction. If this restriction were to explode at a critical moment, the devil Saint Kong Chiu could detonate the soul imprint. Of course, even if it did not detonate, it could also reverse control Yang Hanwu at a critical moment. This clearly showed that he wanted to possess Yang Hanwu and refine him. As long as this guy lurked for a period of time, his soul imprint would continue to absorb energy and grow. He could even control Yang Hanwu without anyone noticing. Insidious, cunning. Yang Hanwu did not get angry but laughed instead. He looked at the devil Saint Kong Chiu and said coldly, "Saint Kong, I'm afraid it's not appropriate for you to do this." "Yang Hanwu, what are you talking about? Since we've reached a deal and you've controlled my soul imprint, we're now in the same boat. Why don't you open the seal and let me out? You should know that we don't have much time left. If you want to enter the witch world, you must let me out within 3 days. Otherwise, if you want to enter the witch world after 3 days, you'll have to wait for a month. I don't think you have that much time, do you?" The devil Saint Kong Chiu was shocked. Could it be that this kid had discovered the restriction on his soul imprint? If that was the case, wouldn't things be bad? If it was really discovered, then all his plans would be for naught. The devil Saint Kong Chiu's heart was as gloomy as water. However, he kept urging Yang Hanwu to open the seal and let him out. "You didn't keep your promise and still want me to let you out? You're dreaming, aren't you?" Yang Hanwu said coldly, "Do you think I'm a fool? Do you think your plan is flawless and I won't discover it?" Chapter 693. Supreme Pill Concoction Technique. "You're the one who broke our agreement first." Yang Hanwu said coldly. "Don't forget that I have the seal-breaking pill. I can break your seal. Although the seal you left behind is extremely well hidden, it still can't escape my eyes. You seem to have forgotten that I've cultivated the soul-refining heart scripture and a powerful secret technique that you can't imagine. It's a secret technique that surpasses the Emperor technique. Nothing can escape my eyes in my divine palace. Therefore, your scheme is futile. You can't scheme against me under my nose. This is the biggest mistake you've made. You've discovered it? How is this possible? My secret technique, my seal, I've used up 70% of my strength. How could you discover it just for the seal?" Devil Saint Kong Chiu couldn't believe it. He looked at Yang Hanwu and screamed. "Nothing is impossible. My origin and the things I've cultivated are beyond your imagination." Yang Hanwu said, "Kneel down now and swear the heavenly Tao blood oath. Submit to me and become my slave." Then, I can spare your life. Ha, Yang Hanwu, so what if you know about it? My seal isn't that easy to break. If you try to break it by force, the seal in my soul imprint will explode. Once the seal of my 7th level of strength explodes, it's enough to destroy your entire divine dwelling and sea of consciousness. Once your sea of consciousness is destroyed, you'll become a fool without any soul consciousness. At that time, I'll be able to take over your body. Devil Saint Kong Chiu said. Take over my body? Yang Hanwu snorted. You're dreaming. If you really self-destruct the seal in your soul, you'll die too. Moreover, my sea of consciousness is so huge. Even if you self-destruct, you won't be able to destroy it completely. At most, you'll only injure me. I still have a supreme trump card that you don't know. Now that I've refined your soul, I can control your life and death. If you truly submit to me, I can spare your life. Finished speaking, Yang Hanwu activated the soul-refining heart scripture and the yin-yang soul-locking curse. He began to refine Devil Saint Kong Chiu's soul seal. When Yang Hanwu activated the spirit-refining heart sutra and the yin-yang soul-lock curse, Devil Saint Kong Chiu felt as if his soul was about to explode. He could turn into ashes at any moment. That boundless pain was born from his soul, making him wish he was dead. He hugged his head and rolled around continuously. It was too painful. Even saints and emperors couldn't withstand this kind of pain. It came from the depths of their soul. What was the soul? It was the true foundation of a living being. Without the soul, there would be nothing left. Moreover, the pain of the soul was much stronger than the pain of the physical body. It could be said that the pain was magnified thousands of times. There weren't many people who could truly withstand the intense pain of the soul. Those who could withstand it were those supreme existences. Of course, there was also a special physique. Their souls were completely numb. Those people were extremely terrifying when they cultivated. Especially when they cultivated secret soul techniques, they were truly powerful. However, there were too few people with such a special physique. Even in the entire 9 heavens and 10 earths, there might not even be one born in tens of thousands of years. Even if there were, it would be useless if they couldn't obtain a suitable cultivation technique. Yang Hanwu, what are you doing? You really dare to attack me? Aren't you afraid of the blood oath of the heavenly Tao? If you go against the blood oath of the heavenly Tao, you'll also be destroyed by the heavenly Tao. You'll also have your soul destroyed. Devil Saint Kong Chiu screamed in pain. Indeed, I can't resist the blood oath of the heavenly Tao. But what about you? You've also broken the oath. Yang Hanwu snorted coldly. Let me try. Let's see if the heavenly Tao will destroy me if I kill you. Lunatic. You're a lunatic. Devil Saint Kong Chiu was angered to death. He had not expected Yang Hanwu to be such a lunatic. He really wasn't afraid of the blood oath of the heavenly Tao. Although he had planted a special seal in his soul imprint to deal with Yang Hanwu, it wasn't a breach of the blood oath of the heavenly Tao. However, this wasn't considered a violation of the oath. Moreover, he didn't make a blood oath. However, Yang Hanwu really dared to deal with him. He used his soul imprint to deal with him. Despicable, truly despicable. Stop. Stop right now. Otherwise, I'll detonate the seal and we'll die together. Devil Saint Kong Chiu screamed. Humph. Yang Hanwu snorted coldly. He could indeed feel the threat of the blood oath of the heavenly Tao. An oath couldn't be broken. Yang Hanwu didn't dare to take the risk. However, this seal was planted in Devil Saint Kong Chiu's soul imprint. Removing it wasn't an easy task. Fortunately, there was a supreme secret technique in the fortune pill scripture that he cultivated. Even if it was in the depths of his soul, he could still refine pills. However, the success rate of refining pills like this was much lower. Moreover, the danger was also much higher. Once he failed, it could cause his sea of consciousness to shake. But now, in order to eliminate the hidden danger, Yang Hanwu had no choice but to do so. The seal planted in the depths of the soul imprint could only be used by refining the seal-breaking pill in the sea of consciousness. This was something that couldn't be helped. With a thought, Yang Hanwu took some spiritual herbs from the space of the immortal pagoda into his sea of consciousness. Yang Hongwu's primordial spirit appeared in his sea of consciousness. Raising his right hand, the spiritual herbs turned into liquid and intertwined with each other. Yang Hanwu began to refine pills. This was the supreme technique of the fortune pill scripture, the soul refining method. The power of the soul gave birth to the soul fire. This soul fire refined the spiritual herbs into liquid and began to burn away the impurities. The flame of soul was a purple flame. This purple flame looked weak and small, as if it could be extinguished at any time. However, when it burned, the elixirs suddenly turned into a medicinal liquid, and the impurities were quickly expelled little by little. Through the seal, Devil St. Kong Chiu saw Yang Hongwu's pill refining method and was shocked to the extreme. You can actually use your own primordial spirit and soul fire to refine pills in your sea of consciousness. You have obtained the inheritance of old Lord Taishan? You have obtained his pill refining technique? Devil St. Kong Chiu's eyes were wide open. He had not expected that this guy would have obtained such a miraculous pill refining technique. Seemed like those seal-breaking pills were not obtained by him at all. He must have refined them himself. B*****. He was a total B*****. If he had known earlier, he would have captured him at all costs. He would have extracted his soul and stolen his memories. Even if he didn't possess his body, he would have done it. Chapter 694. Alchemy Saint. What's so strange about it? I'm only one step away from becoming an 8th grade alchemist. Plus, I've obtained a supreme alchemy method. Using my soul flame to refine pills is a piece of cake. Yang Hongwu's tone was light and indifferent, as if this was a trivial matter. 8th grade alchemist. Demon St. Kong Chiu took a deep breath. This guy is so young. He's probably not even 30 years old yet. But he's already about to break through and become an 8th grade alchemist. Such talent is just too shocking. Although he claimed to be a genius, a super genius, he's still lacking compared to Yang Hanwu. After a dozen breaths, Yang Hanwu began to condense the pills. At the last step, a 7-colored light fell and a few restriction pills were refined. Perfect quality. Those mysterious pill patterns showed that these pills were perfect quality. Although they're not 8th grade pills, they're definitely not inferior to some 8th grade pills. If he took them out, people would definitely fight for them. Watch how I break your restriction. I'll take care of you after I break your restriction. Yang Hanwu said coldly. A restriction-breaking pill was held in his hand. A mysterious hand seal was formed and the restriction-breaking pill was shot out. It turned into a 7-colored light and fell on the restriction. In an instant, the restriction was dissolved. Demon St. Kong Chiu's body trembled. He couldn't believe that his restriction was broken so easily. After breaking the restriction, Yang Hanwu had nothing to worry about. With a thought, he took control of Demon St. Kong Chiu's soul mark. The great pain made Demon St. Kong Chiu cry out in pain. Yang Hanwu, you bastard. Stop it. Don't you want to go to the witch world? Demon St. Kong Chiu didn't have any more trump cards after the restriction was broken. This was something he didn't expect. Of course I'm going to the witch world. This is just a lesson for you. Yang Hanwu snorted. He didn't expect things to go so smoothly. This Demon St. Kong Chiu was really cunning. Fortunately, Lin Fan's cultivation technique was special. Otherwise, he might have been tricked by this guy. Demon St. Kong's doppelganger was indeed extraordinary. Demon St. Kong Chiu's eyes flashed with killing intent and hatred. He was really angry that he was tricked by a junior. However, Yang Hanwu didn't care about Demon St. Kong Chiu's anger and hatred at all. This guy's Demon St. Kong Chiu's thought Yang Hanwu Chiu fan. However, Yang Hanwu was Chiu fan. Yang Hanwu, Yang Hanwu. Yang Hanwu was Chiu. After entering the witch world, his strength was not enough, so he would need to rely on this guy. However, this guy obviously would not help him easily. When the time came, he would want him to die in the witch world. Therefore, before entering the sorcerer's world, he had to plan carefully. Of course, after he opened the seal, even if Devil St. Kong Chio recovered his cultivation base, he wouldn't be able to do anything to him, and he would be able to absorb and refine this spirit vein. After refining this spirit vein, he could awaken the Sherbower and increase the strength of the Immortal Pagoda. In that case, he would have a lot more trump cards. Yang Hanwu had a faint premonition that the greatest secret of Earth Demon Mountain was not even Devil Sage Kong Chio. Beneath this spirit vein, there was another great secret. Although this was only a premonition, this feeling was getting stronger and stronger. Whether it was real or not, he would only know after he opened the seal. Can you open the seal now? Since he was under someone else's roof, he had no choice but to bow his head. At this moment, it was the true portrayal of Devil St. Kong Chio. Although he was extremely humiliated and extremely unwilling, there was nothing he could do. Who asked Yan Hanwu to grab hold of his weakness? He had to ask Yan Hanwu for help, so there was nothing he could do. For the sake of freedom, he had no choice but to submit. He regretted it very much. If he had attacked Yan Hanwu as quickly as he could, things might not have ended up like this. Of course, he had to admit that this kid's luck was extremely terrifying. Those who came from the same place as him all had amazing luck, and this kid was stronger than anyone he had ever met. Even before he was born, his original body's luck was far inferior to Chio Chio Chio's. Chio Chio Chio's luck was even worse than the three pure ones. He was probably on par with Dao ancestor Hong Jun. Therefore, even if he had attacked Yan Hanwu as quickly as he could, he might not have been able to successfully seize his memories and obtain the miraculous and powerful alchemy method. However, he was unwilling to cooperate with Chio 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 now. However, he wasn't worried that he would die. As long as his original body didn't die, his demonic doppelganger with St. Kong would never die. Devil St. Kong Chio's goal had always been to devour his original body and become the real St. Kong. At that time, once he devoured St. Kong's original body, his strength would increase tremendously, and it wouldn't be impossible for him to surpass a great emperor. Once he reached that stage and devoured his true body, the first thing he would do would be to seek revenge from Emperor Refinement of the God Refinement Realm. That Emperor Refinement of the God Refinement Realm was extremely detestable to have sealed him here for so many years. This could be said to be the most humiliating thing that had ever happened to him since his birth. Of course, now there was one more thing, and that was being schemed against by Yang Hanwu, a level 3 Divine Realm expert. If this matter were to spread out, it would be too embarrassing. Therefore, killing Yang Hanwu was also one of his goals. However, compared to killing Yang Hanwu and Emperor Refined God Emperor, it was too insignificant. Even if Yang Hanwu was a genius with terrifying luck. Luck was ethereal and unfathomable. Those with great luck would be blessed by the heavenly Tao or even the great Tao. It wouldn't be easy to kill them. However, once one's cultivation reached a certain level, he would be able to break through the shackle, and he wouldn't need to look at the heavenly Tao or even the great Tao. He knew how powerful his original body was. If he could devour his original body, he wouldn't need to worry about the heavenly Tao. Just a mere seal. I can break it easily. Yang Hanwu shot out restriction-breaking pills and array-breaking pills. The combination of restriction-breaking pills and array-breaking pills could easily break some profound array seals and restrictions. The formation-breaking pills and restriction-breaking pills flew out in a dense manner, as if it was raining. These pills formed a mysterious shadow. It was a saint, the Creation Pill Saint. The Creation Pill Saint was an expert who became a saint through alchemy. In the end, he cultivated to become a supreme great emperor. The pills that he concocted contained his own spirituality, and could transform into a human body to cultivate. This was an extremely high level of alchemy. The Creation Pill scripture was deduced by the Creation Pill Saint. Now, Yang Hanwu was using a supreme secret art from the Good Fortune Pill scripture. He was using the restriction-breaking pill and formation-breaking pill to break the formation. Thus, a phantom of the good fortune pill saint appeared, and it was extremely powerful. Chapter 695. The birth of the demon saint. This is. Demon Saint Kong Chiu was shocked. This was the projection of the creation pill saint. He had only heard of the creation pill saint, but had never seen him before. The creation pill saint's alchemy skills had reached perfection. He was the only one who could compete with Taishan Laojun in terms of alchemy. He had always thought that the mysterious alchemy technique of the seal-breaking pill was the masterpiece of the Grand Supreme Elderly Lord. However, now that he saw the fortune pill saint's projection, he finally understood that the mysterious alchemy technique of the seal-breaking pill wasn't the Grand Supreme Elderly Lord's alchemy technique, but originated from the fortune pill saint. The creation pill saint was different from Taishan Laojun. The creation pill saint was a native of the 9 heavens and 10 earths, unlike Taishan Laojun who came from the void continent. The 9 heavens and 10 earths was also filled with geniuses. In terms of alchemy, the most outstanding one was the creation pill saint. As for the others, there were also many powerful existences. For example, the refinement god Great Emperor was also a powerful genius. Although he was sealed by him, Demon Saint Kong Chiu had to admit that the refinement god Great Emperor was extremely terrifying. His strength and talent were both first-rate existences. I didn't expect you to have obtained the inheritance of the creation pill saint. Demon Saint Kong Chiu looked at Yang Hanwu and said. Creation pill saint? Yang Hanwu didn't know whose inheritance he had obtained. He only knew one thing, and that was that the alchemy method he cultivated was called the Good Fortune Pill Scripture. As for who created this pill scripture, he didn't know. Now that he heard Demon Saint Kong Chiu's words, this was the first time he had heard of the Good Fortune Pill Saint. However, there was one thing that Yang Hanwu admired very much. The person who created this supreme alchemy method was indeed incomparably powerful. A single pill could create the universe. If one cultivated it to the extreme, they would be a truly terrifying expert. Such a person was definitely an existence comparable to Great God Pangu. Entering the Tao through alchemy. Yang Hanwu was extremely impressed. However, he had never thought of cultivating the Tao of alchemy. Entering the Tao through alchemy was not Yang Hanwu's style. Although the Tao of alchemy was not bad, it was not suitable for Yang Hanwu. Just like the Tao of alchemy, Yang Hanwu didn't just possess extremely high talent in the art of alchemy, he similarly possessed shocking talent in the Tao of talismans. The divine talisman technique that Yang Hanwu cultivated was also a supreme technique. If one could cultivate it to the extreme, one could also have endless good fortune. You don't know? Devil Saint Kong Chiu saw that Yang Hanwu didn't seem to be lying. He was somewhat astonished. This brat was truly lucky. After obtaining the inheritance of others, he didn't even know who it belonged to. This made Demon Saint Kong Chiu extremely jealous. After coming to this world, Kong Chiu, the sage of Confucius, did not receive any inheritance from any expert. He had always been fighting on his own to become powerful. If he could obtain the inheritance of some super powerhouses, such as the creation pill saint or the refinement god Great Emperor, then his cultivation would be much faster. Yang Hanwu shook his head and said faintly, "Why should I know? If the creation pill saint's alchemy technique is the creation pill saint's cultivation technique, then he should be an incomparably powerful alchemy saint. However, my goal is not to enter the Tao through alchemy. The Tao of alchemy is only an auxiliary. You really don't know how lucky you are. Do you know how many powerhouses, saints, and even great emperors are interested in the Good Fortune Pill Saint's alchemy methods? They all wish to obtain his inheritance, but you actually don't place them in your eyes. If they were to find out about this, you would die without a grave. Do you know that?" Yang Hongwu's attitude made Demon Saint Kong Chiu feel extremely displeased. Not to mention other things, just the fact that Yang Hongwu could refine the seal-breaking pill was already very terrifying. Countless people wanted to obtain it. Once it was exposed, countless experts would flock over. Moreover, not only venerables, sages, and even great emperors would make a move. That's not a Tao that belongs to me. If a person wants to become a true expert, to stand at the peak, to become a supreme and powerful existence, he needs to have his own Tao. He needs to create his own Tao. Yang Hongwu's tone was still as calm as ever. However, Demon Saint Kong Chiu could hear the incomparable confidence in his tone. He could hear the pride that belonged to Yang Hongwu. Demon Saint Kong Chiu snorted at this. This guy really didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. How difficult was it for a person to create their own Tao? Even his original body, Sage Kong Chiu, didn't create his own Tao. Of course, if he could create his own Tao, then he would truly become a supreme powerhouse. At the very least, he would be able to reach the level of Taishan Laojun. He might even reach the level of Tao ancestor Hong Jun and great god Pan Gu. Just as the two of them were conversing, the phantom of the creation Pill Saint had already broken the seal of the entire formation. As the formation disappeared, a huge amount of spiritual chi turned into a giant dragon and soared into the sky, rushing out. Demon Saint Kong Chiu turned into a tall figure. His entire body was surrounded by a terrifying aura. As he soared into the sky, it was as if the entire world was trembling because of him. Terrifying bolts of lightning appeared in the sky. The entire sky turned gloomy as if the world was afraid of him. I'm out. I, Demon Saint, am finally out. God Refinement Emperor, you have sealed me for so many years. This grudge, I will definitely have my revenge. As Demon Saint appeared, his terrifying aura shrouded the entire Earth Demon Mountain. It was as if the entire mountain was about to collapse. Be quiet. Yang Hanwu looked at the terrifying aura that appeared in the sky. That was the heavenly Tao's lightning tribulation. Demon Saint's strength had already far surpassed the ancient domain. His strength was originally at the Great Emperor realm. Although his strength was greatly reduced, it was still not something that the ancient domain could withstand. It was beyond the laws of the ancient domain. Therefore, the heavenly Tao had to send down a heavenly tribulation or even a heavenly punishment. Therefore, Yang Hanwu wanted to warn this arrogant guy. If this guy attracted a heavenly tribulation or even a heavenly punishment, it would be a huge blow to him. Although his strength was not bad and his body was strong, it was impossible for him to withstand a heavenly tribulation from such a terrifying expert. Moreover, he still needed this guy to help him enter the witch world. He might even be his bodyguard in the witch world to protect him. If this guy was sent to a higher level, to the heaven domain, then wouldn't his efforts be in vain? Yang Hongwu, do you really think you can control me? Demon Saint's eyes flashed with a cold light. This weak guy had released him and even dared to order him around. He really didn't know what death was. Chapter 696. Demon Saint tragic. Seeing Demon Saint Kong Chiu being so arrogant, Yang Hongwu's face sank. He coldly said, "Your soul mark is still with me. Do you want me to destroy your soul imprint? Destroy my soul mark? What a joke, this is simply a joke." Demon Saint Kong Chiu laughed. He looked at Yang Hongwu and said, "You released me and my strength instantly recovered by 30%. Although it's only 30% of my strength, it's still far from what you can resist. You are still far from enough. My soul mark is indeed with you, but your strength is too weak. I can even use the soul mark to control you and make you my slave." Ha, ha. At this moment, Demon Saint Kong Chiu was arrogant to the extreme. It was as if everything was under his control. He looked at Yang Hongwu as if he was looking at a clown. "You should honestly hand over the inheritance of the God Refinement Great Emperor and the Good Fortune Pill Saint to me. If you do, I can consider letting you go." Demon Saint Kong Chiu looked at Yang Hongwu and said, "You want the inheritance? Dream on." Yang Hongwu coldly snorted. With a thought, the God Refinement Heart Sutra and the Yin-Yang Soul Lock Curse were activated once more. The Yin-Yang Soul Lock Curse penetrated Demon Saint Kong Chiu's soul mark and directly attacked his soul. Damn it! Feeling a stabbing pain in his soul, Demon Saint Kong Chiu suddenly screamed. He was enraged. He stretched out his hand and condensed an endless amount of magic power, grabbing towards Yang Hongwu. Energy fluctuated and space trembled as if it was about to be torn apart. Humph! Yang Hongwu's eyes flashed with a cold light. He opened the battle spirit possession and the 9-dragon saint body, causing his strength to explode. His powerful spiritual force erupted and the power of yin and yang revolved. The power of the yin-yang soul lock curse increased once more. Demon Saint Kong Chio's soul emitted an intense pain. It was 1,000 times more intense than before. It caused him to fall to the ground as if his soul was about to shatter. Damn it, how could this be? Kong Chio couldn't believe that he had already recovered 30% of his strength. Although he was suppressed, his soul force didn't weaken at all. It was impossible for this young man's soul force to be that much stronger than his. With such a huge gap between them, how could he still use the soul imprint to suppress Kong Chio's soul and cause him such intense pain? If this continued, his soul would really be destroyed by the underworld. Humph, Devil Saint, aren't you very strong and awesome? Why don't you try being awesome again? Yang Hongwu said coldly. He had just escaped and yet he dared to be so arrogant and despotic. He even wanted to snatch his inheritance and kill him. He really didn't know what was good for him. Although he was powerful, he had the soul imprint under his control. If he wanted to deal with him, it would be a matter of minutes. Of course, Yang Hongwu also felt fortunate. If he hadn't cultivated the yin-yang soul lock spell, he might not have been able to suppress the soul imprint. After all, the difference in strength between the two of them was too great. Without the mind-refining Heart Sutra and the yin-yang soul lock spell, he might have been suppressed by the soul imprint. Thinking of this, Yang Hongwu felt a little scared. Of course, he was now relieved. The yin-yang soul lock spell that he cultivated was much stronger than he expected. Being able to control this guy meant that he had another powerful guard. This was much more convenient than Sherbauer. Of course, Sherbauer could be trusted. She reckoned that this fellow would be plotting against her all the time. If she couldn't control herself, this fellow would be like a ticking time bomb. Once she got the chance, he would turn on her. Therefore, although Sherbauer's combat strength might not be as strong as Kong Chio's, there was no need to worry. But the Devil Saint was different. Stop, please stop. I surrender, I surrender. Kong Chio didn't want to die, so he could only beg for mercy. Besides, that kind of pain was unbearable even for him. Humph. Yang Hongwu snorted and stopped the yin-yang soul lock spell. At this time, the Devil Saint got up from the ground. He was battered and exhausted. He no longer had the arrogant and domineering look that he had before. He was just like a stray dog. All right, now tell me about this Earth Demon Mountain. How did you end up being sealed here? Where's your real body now? Also, is there anything under the Earth Demon Mountain's spiritual vein? Yang Hongwu asked. This guy had been sealed here for so many years. It was impossible for him to know nothing about the Earth Demon Mountain. Yang Hongwu felt that there was something powerful under the spiritual vein. Or rather, it was a supreme treasure. If he could get it, his strength would probably improve. It was difficult for him to improve his strength. His previous improvement was all because of the 9-yin pearl. Of course, if he could refine this spiritual vein, not to mention breaking through 2 levels, it was even possible for him to break through to the half-step honorable realm. However, Yang Hongwu didn't have that much time to refine this spiritual vein, nor did he have the strength to do so. Just how much spiritual chi was contained in a single spiritual vein? Just how terrifying was that pressure? A powerful spiritual vein would give birth to its own intelligence. Otherwise, it wouldn't be called a spiritual vein. With its own intelligence, how could it casually contribute its spiritual chi to others? That was equivalent to drinking its blood and eating its flesh. No intelligent creature would agree to it. There's a huge spiritual vein below the Earth Demon Mountain. That old bastard God Refinement Emperor moved this spiritual vein here to seal me. Demon Saint Kong Chio gritted his teeth as he spoke. Then what about your real body? Yang Hongwu knew that this guy wasn't telling the truth. However, Yang Hongwu didn't care. He would find out about the spiritual vein eventually. With this spiritual vein, the immortal pagoda's power would continue to recover. Bauer's power would also recover a lot. As for the secret below, he would find out once the spiritual vein was taken. Real body? What real body? I am the real body. Kong Chiu roared. You dare to lie? Yang Hongwu's eyes flashed. With a thought, the yin-yang soul lock curse was activated. Ah. I'll talk. Kong Chiu begged for mercy. Chapter 697. Collecting the spirit vein. Demon Saint Kong Chiu's face turned gloomy. This was the thing that made him the most unhappy. Why was he a demonic spirit? Even though he did not want to admit it, he was just an evil spirit that had been separated from his original self. It was just a demonic spirit. However, this was the pain in his heart. He always thought that one day, he would be able to devour his original self and become the real Saint Confucius. Although he was very unhappy with Yang Hongwu's words, there was nothing he could do about it. Although Yang Hongwu's strength wasn't that great, he didn't know what kind of mysterious treasure he had that could destroy his soul. Damn it. Main body, are you talking about that self-righteous hypocrite? Demon Saint said coldly, I don't know. Although we share the same origin, I can't feel his existence. It's fine if you don't want to talk about it. But can you at least tell me what's under the Earth Devil Mountain range? Don't tell me that you don't know. Don't think that I can't find out. Even if you don't tell me, I have my own ways to find out. Yan Hanwu said. Demon Saint wasn't willing to talk about the matter between him and Kong Chiu's main body. This was within his expectations. As for the secrets that he wanted to hide under the spirit vein, Yan Hanwu wasn't going to be so easy to talk about. Xiaochen had to obtain this spirit vein. He was destined to not be able to keep the secret below. However, from Demon Saint's expression, the things under the spirit vein were definitely not that simple. Otherwise, Demon Saint Kong Chiu wouldn't have kept it a secret. What do you think is under the spirit vein? I think you've gone crazy from wanting treasures. Demon Saint Kong Chiu said. Still trying to hide it? Do you really think that I'm a fool? Yang Hanwu said coldly, the things below are related to my physique. They have a special attraction to me. That's why I can feel it. At this moment, Yang Hanwu began to collect the spirit vein. Xianyu, collect the spirit vein. Yang Hanwu used his mind to communicate with the treasure spirit of the Immortal Tower. Xianyu is the name of the treasure spirit of the Immortal Tower. She had recovered a lot of her memories. If she could collect the spirit vein, her strength would recover even more. Of course, Yang Hanwu mainly wanted to help Bauer recover and wake her up. Once he entered the sorcerer world, Bauer's original form was a life gem. He had lived for countless years and was knowledgeable. He would be of great help to Yishuan. Of course, it was the same for the Immortal Pagoda. Therefore, the Immortal Pagoda had to be upgraded, the Bauer had to be upgraded, and more importantly, Wu had to be upgraded. The power of this spirit vein was probably not enough. After absorbing and refining this spirit vein, he wondered how much his strength would increase. This was what Yang Hanwu was more concerned about. Increasing his strength was the most important thing. The stronger he was, the safer he would be. After all, the strength of the Immortal Pagoda and the Bauer was not his own strength. Only his own strength was the most reliable. Yes, Master. Xianyu could not wait any longer. She had long wanted to collect the spirit vein. Otherwise, she would not have let Yang Hanwu take the risk to collect it. The Immortal Pagoda flew out of Yang Hongwu's spiritual abode and turned into a huge pagoda. This huge pagoda was shining with dazzling immortal light. Then, the Immortal Pagoda opened a passage. That passage shot out an even more intense beam of light, making it hard for people to open their eyes. That beam of light instantly pierced through the entire Earth Demon Mountain. With a loud bang, a terrifying amount of spiritual chi burst out and soared into the sky. The beam of light from the Immortal Pagoda changed. It formed a terrifying suction force and turned into a huge whirlpool. This huge whirlpool was like a black hole, crazily devouring all the spiritual chi in the surroundings. It was as if it was going to devour the entire mountain. Yang Hongwu's body trembled. This immortal pagoda was actually crazily devouring his spiritual chi. Even if Yang Hongwu's spiritual chi was strong, it was still hard for him to hold on. Yang Hongwu knew that as the owner of the immortal pagoda, he would need the support of his spiritual chi for it to burst forth. Without his spiritual chi, there was no way the immortal pagoda could burst forth with such power. Xianyu, how long will it take to finish collecting it? Yang Hongwu smiled bitterly. Even though he knew that the immortal pagoda would consume a huge amount of his spiritual chi, he had not expected it to be this intense. The rate of consumption was horrifying. Master, hold on for a little longer. 15 minutes. At most, you'll succeed in 15 minutes. Xianyu said. 15 minutes. The moment Yang Hongwu heard this, his face twitched. Bloody hell. 15 minutes. Based on this speed, he would only be able to hold on for half an hour at most. If he had known that collecting an entire spirit vein would consume such a huge amount of spiritual chi, he would not have agreed to it no matter what. Time passed bit by bit. Yang Hongwu's spiritual chi was being consumed more and more. Hurry up! Hurry up! I can't hold on any longer. Yang Hongwu used his spiritual chi to communicate with Xianyu and shouted out. Even though he was extremely anxious in his heart, he could not show it on his face. If Demon Saint Kong Qiu were to see that he was not as strong as he wanted to be, he would definitely launch an attack to devour him. However, after the previous incidents where Demon Saint Kong Qiu was taken care of by Yang Hongwu twice, he did not show any signs of taking action this time around. Of course, when he saw Yang Hongwu using the Immortal Pagoda to collect the entire spirit vein of the Earth Demon Mountain, he was extremely shocked as well. He had not expected Yang Hongwu to be this daring. In his impression, the Immortal Pagoda was indeed extremely strong. However, he did not know exactly how strong it was. Whether or not the Immortal Pagoda could collect the entire spirit vein, he did not dare to be sure. However, he was not optimistic about it. After all, this spirit vein belonged to the God Refinement Emperor. If Lin Fan were to collect this spirit vein, the God Refinement Emperor would definitely be alerted. However, when he recalled that Yang Hongwu was the successor of the God Refinement Emperor, he laughed bitterly. The God Refinement Emperor must have left this place for his successor. This was left for Yang Hongwu. Therefore, it was only natural that Lin Fan would be able to collect this spirit vein. However, Yang Hongwu was not as relaxed as Demon Saint Kong Qiu thought. At this moment, Yang Hongwu was almost at the end of his rope. The Immortal Pagoda was far from being able to collect the spirit vein. He did not know how long it would take for it to be fully collected. Xianyu, are you done? I can't hold on any longer. Yang Hongwu shouted out. Chapter 698. The Breath of a Divine Dragon. I can't hold on any longer. Yang Hongwu roared, ready to give up. At this time, Yang Hongwu suddenly felt a pure energy enter his body. Yang Hongwu's mind power was originally exhausted, but this energy was like a sweet spring in the desert, replenishing Yang Hongwu's mind power. Spiritual vein, I didn't expect you to find a spiritual vein. The voice belonged to Sherbauer. Sherbauer had woken up and was frantically absorbing the energy of the spirit vein. Like a whale sucking in water, the entire spirit vein was sucked in at an even faster speed than the Immortal Pagoda. When Mystic Moon saw Sherbauer waking up and absorbing spiritual energy like crazy, she became anxious. This speed was even faster than her. If this continued, she wouldn't be able to get the most spiritual energy. Speed up. Speed up. Speed up for me. Xianyu went crazy for the sake of obtaining more spiritual chi. At this time, the great demon Saint Kong Qiu also reacted and began to circulate his martial arts to fight for the spirit chi. However, how could Yang Hongwu let him do as he wished? He snorted coldly and said, Demon Saint Kong Qiu, your strength has already reached such a level. Do you still want to compete with me for spiritual energy? You don't need so much spiritual chi, right? Besides, my cultivation hasn't recovered yet. I need spiritual chi to recover my cultivation. Demon Saint Kong Chiu said, now that I've recovered my cultivation, my battle prowess has increased as well. It's good for you as well. In the witch world, danger is everywhere. If you don't have enough power, you'll definitely die. Every time I recover a little bit of my power, I'll have more chances of survival. I will also be in more danger, Yang Hanwu said coldly. Isn't that so? If you dare to continue absorbing the spiritual chi from this spiritual vein, I won't be polite anymore. You. Seeing Yang Hanwu like this, there was nothing he could do. If Yang Hanwu really used that damnable secret technique to attack his soul, his injuries would probably worsen. The gains would not make up for the losses. Forget it, I won't argue with you. If you don't want to absorb it, then so be it. After a while, the energy of the entire spirit vein was almost completely absorbed. Bauer's cultivation rose steadily, and the immortal pagoda's aura grew stronger and stronger. If Xianyu had not awakened before, the aura of the immortal pagoda would definitely have been sensed by others. But now that Xianyu had awakened, the aura of the immortal pagoda was controlled within a certain range. Therefore, no one could sense it. This was the greatest benefit of Yang Hongwu's awakening. It also meant that Yang Hongwu could use the immortal pagoda without worrying about being discovered by others. When Yang Hongwu's strength increased a little more, there was no need to worry. If he was strong enough, he would be able to unleash the power of the immortal pagoda and be in an invincible position. Therefore, the increase in the strength of the immortal tower's device spirit, Xianyu, would be of great help to Yang Hongwu. Soon, the spiritual chi was almost completely absorbed. The entire spirit vein had been completely refined. At this moment, Yang Hongwu felt a majestic energy erupt from the ground. The entire ground shook. As if there was a great earthquake, Xianyu leaped up. The immortal pagoda shrunk instantly, and a suction force pulled Yang Hongwu into the immortal pagoda. After entering the immortal pagoda, Yang Hongwu could feel the pure energy refining his body. Once, twice. After countless rounds of tempering, Yang Hongwu found that his cultivation base had risen once again. Level 4 Divine Realm. That's right, Yang Hongwu's cultivation had risen to the next level, reaching the 4th level of the Divine Realm. Master, the energy here can only increase your cultivation to this level for now. If you increase it any further, it will not be beneficial to your future cultivation, Xianyu said. At this moment, Bauer also appeared in the immortal pagoda. I can increase it to another level, Bauer said. That's right. I forgot about you. You can stabilize Master's cultivation and eliminate the hidden dangers in Master's body. Xianyu nodded. Once again, she released the pure energy to refine Yang Hongwu's body and increase his cultivation. After a dozen breaths, Yang Hongwu's cultivation had increased again. Yang Hongwu smiled bitterly. They didn't discuss it with him and just kept increasing his cultivation. This was crazy. Why didn't they discuss it with him? After all, it was his cultivation that was increasing. Boom! At this moment, a loud sound was heard. The immortal pagoda shook. What happened? Yang Hongwu asked, what was that? Before entering the immortal pagoda, a majestic energy had erupted from the ground. Yang Hongwu thought it was the last burst of energy from the spirit vein. But now, it seemed that it was not the case. What on earth had happened? Looking at Xianyu and Bauer's solemn faces, Yang Hongwu knew that there was trouble. Could it be that a treasure had appeared in the depths of the spirit vein? What kind of treasure was it? Yang Hongwu was in the immortal pagoda and couldn't see what was happening outside. So, Yang Hongwu said, Xianyu, let me see what's going on. No, it's too dangerous, Xianyu said. I can feel it. It's the power of a dragon, Yang Hongwu said. It's the power of a divine dragon. At this moment, Yang Hongwu felt a very familiar power. It was the power of a dragon. This power was too familiar. It was exactly the same as the aura of the Dragon Ball he had obtained before. Could it be that there was another Dragon Ball? Yang Hanwu was ecstatic. If it was really a Dragon Ball, he would be rich. With another Dragon Ball, his strength would really increase by leaps and bounds. It wouldn't be difficult for him to break through the divine realm and enter the venerable realm. Divine Dragon? Xianyu was stunned. Shi Bao was also very surprised. Indeed, that power carried the aura of a dragon. It was very similar to the aura of Yang Hongwu's body. Could it be that it was really a divine dragon? However, that power was too terrifying. If it was an enemy, the Immortal Pagoda wouldn't be able to withstand it. Outside the Immortal Pagoda, Demon Saint Kong Chio's face was extremely gloomy. He didn't expect that there would be such a terrifying aura. This aura was much stronger than his own. He wasn't a match for it at all. This time, he was in big trouble. If they were to fight, Demon Saint Kong Chio didn't have the slightest confidence. If his cultivation was at its peak, he might be able to fight it. But now, he only had 30% of his strength left. He was no match for it. Damn it. It's all Yang Hongwu's fault. Demon Saint Kong Chio couldn't help but curse. He felt that the aura had locked onto him. There was no way for him to escape. Chapter 699. Mighty skeletal dragon Demon Saint Kong Chio was also very puzzled. How could there be a dragon's aura? He had been sealed here for so long, but he didn't feel anything at all. At first, he thought that this was a place that the old bastard, refined God Emperor, purposely found for him to seal him. He didn't expect that there was already a dragon sealed here before him. At this time, Luli woke up. She communicated with Yang Hanwu in his spiritual sea. No, it's not a real divine dragon. Luli, what's going on? Do you know? Yang Hanwu was very happy to see Luli wake up. Luli was originally an empress, moreover, she was the empress of dragons. She was very clear about the dragons. Brother, this isn't a sealed divine dragon. It's just a piece of dragon bone. Luli said. A piece of dragon bone? Yang Hanwu was a little surprised. He asked, such a terrifying aura, how can it be just a piece of dragon bone? Look at the aura, it's too powerful. Even the great devil saint was forced to retreat. I'm afraid that even the great devil saint at his peak might not be able to deal with it. Of course, a real great emperor of dragons is very powerful. Even a piece of dragon bone is no small matter. If that piece of dragon bone has given birth to intelligence, it'll be even more terrifying. Although it can't be compared to the real body of that expert, it'll still be able to display 10% of the strength of the real body after many years of growth. That's also very terrifying. Luli said, if I'm not wrong, this piece of dragon bone must have given birth to its own intelligence. Or maybe it originally contained a strand of consciousness of that expert. This strand of consciousness was nourished by the spiritual vein and slowly grew until it reached its current level. You're saying that there's a strand of consciousness of that expert in this dragon bone? Yang Hanwu asked. Yes, brother. The owner of this dragon bone should be an earth-shattering expert. Judging from his aura, he should have lived in an era even older than my previous life. If I'm not mistaken, he should have lived in the immemorial era. He should be a super expert in the immemorial era. At that time, there were no 9 heavens and 10 earths. Luli said, and this piece of dragon bone was left behind and was nourished by a spiritual vein. If I'm not wrong, this spiritual vein shouldn't be an ordinary spiritual vein, but a powerful dragon vein. Dragon vein? Impossible. If it's a dragon vein, how can it not have the aura of a dragon vein? Moreover, if it's a powerful dragon vein, how can it be so weak? Yang Hanwu shook his head. He couldn't believe this at all. The reason why this dragon vein's aura is weak and almost non-existent, and its aura is also greatly depleted. That's because of this dragon bone. It absorbed a huge amount of aura to strengthen itself. Because of this, the level of this dragon vein is getting lower and lower, resulting in the current situation. I even suspect that this dragon bone was deliberately sealed here," Lu Li said. While speaking, a huge golden dragon soared into the sky with a rumbling sound. Its huge body covered the sky. Upon closer inspection, the golden dragon was not made of flesh and blood. Instead, it was purely a skeletal dragon. It was a gigantic skeletal dragon. The golden dragon bone shone brightly under the sun. Each bone was full of powerful strength. On top of the dragon's head, there was a huge golden eye. Its sharp teeth were like a powerful blade, full of supreme destructive power. Especially the bone spur on the dragon's back, it was mighty and domineering. It was like a heavenly sword, shining with dazzling golden light. This guy is so strong. A bone dragon doesn't have flesh and blood. Yang Hanwu sucked in a breath of cold air when he saw this scene. This guy was actually not restricted by the laws of ancient domain. One had to know that the power displayed in front of Yang Hanwu was definitely beyond the limits of the laws of ancient domain. However, there was no punishment from the heavens. This guy had already surpassed the laws of ancient domain. He was no longer within the laws of ancient domain. This meant that even if the laws of ancient domain sent down a heavenly punishment, it would be useless. It might even cause the collapse of the entire ancient domain. It's not that there isn't any heavenly punishment. It's just that the entire space is blocked by it. At this moment, Shi Bao's voice sounded in the depths of Yang Hongwu's mind. Yang Hongwu was a little unhappy. Shi Bao was eavesdropping on his thoughts. This made Yang Hongwu very uncomfortable. However, there was nothing he could do about it. He wasn't strong enough to block his thoughts. "Don't worry, I'm not that bored." At this moment, Shi Bao said, "I'll only check your thoughts during critical moments. If you don't want me to see what you're thinking, you'd better hurry up and increase your cultivation level and mental strength. Once your mental strength reaches a certain level, I won't be able to check your thoughts anymore. However, I'm afraid you're in trouble now." "Trouble? You're saying that the bone dragon will harm me?" Yang Hongwu's face darkened. If that was really the case, then he was in trouble. If the bone dragon wanted to harm him, then his strength was too low. He was no match for it. "The aura on your body is very familiar, human." The bone dragon opened its mouth and looked at Yang Hongwu. Yang Hongwu rolled his eyes. F***ck, I also feel that the aura on your body is very familiar. It's exactly the same as the Dragon Ball I obtained. I don't know what's going on either," Yang Hongwu said. "Dragon Ball. I can feel the aura of the Dragon Ball." When the bone dragon shot a golden dragon aura towards Yang Hongwu was scared out of his wits. Is this damned bone dragon really going to attack me? Just as he was about to summon the immortal pagoda to defend himself, Yang Hongwu found that the dragon ball in his body moved. It appeared in the depths of his spiritual sea and spiritual abode and started spinning. Yang Hongwu's eyes widened. He couldn't move at all. This made Yang Hongwu turn pale with fright. All this time, Yang Hongwu thought that the dragon ball had been completely refined and integrated into his body. He didn't expect that the dragon ball was still there, and that it hadn't been consumed at all. This made Yang Hongwu very confused. The power of the Dragon Ball was simply beyond his imagination. The power contained in the Dragon Ball in front of him was not weaker than that of the huge bone dragon in front of him. In fact, it was even stronger. Chapter 700. The ultimate method of dragon human, you're lying to me. How dare you? The bone dragon's muffled voice carried a hint of anger. Yang Hongwu couldn't even speak at the moment. He could only watch as the huge claws of the bone dragon swiped at him. If he was caught, his entire body would probably be crushed. That terrifying aura made it difficult for Yang Hongwu to breathe. It was as if his entire body was about to be crushed into meat paste by that enormous pressure. While Yang Hongwu was secretly complaining, the dragon pearl moved and released a powerful force that wrapped around Yang Hongwu's body. Yang Hongwu's body, which was about to be crushed by the terrifying pressure, was repaired in an instant. Not only that, Yang Hongwu's body became even stronger. This was the power of the Dragon Balls. While Yang Hongwu was overjoyed, he was also a little worried. After all, if the matter of the Dragon Balls was exposed and the Bone Dragon knew about it, this fellow would definitely not let him off. However, even though he knew it was dangerous, there was nothing he could do. The Bone Dragon was so powerful. How could he deal with it? It would be great if he could find a weakness. No matter what kind of living being it was, they all had their own weaknesses. Even great emperors were no exception. Of course, if the difference in strength was too great, even if he knew his weakness, he might not be able to compete with him. Now, Yang Hongwu was having a headache. It was very difficult to deal with such a strong opponent. Now, Yang Hongwu could only place his hopes on the immortal pagoda, Luli, and Bauer. In addition, Devil Saint Kong Chiu could also be used. After all, Devil Saint Kong Chiu's strength was not weak. He was a super expert with the strength to contend against a great emperor. However, his cultivation had not fully recovered. Hence, Yang Hongwu communicated with the Devil Saint's soul imprint, saying, "Devil Saint, stop him, stop this Bone Dragon, or I'll kill you." After receiving Yang Hongwu's message, the Demon Saint's body trembled. He was enraged. "Damn bastard, he actually wants me to defend against this terrifying Bone Dragon." Kong Chiu was very depressed. Although he was powerful, the gap between him and the skeletal dragon was too great. If his true body appeared, he might be able to suppress this skeletal dragon. However, he was only a strand of devil intent. In fact, this strand of devil intent was incomplete. He wasn't the real Devil Saint. Facing such a terrifying Bone Dragon, how could they deal with it? However, he had no other choice now. If he really didn't go against the skeletal dragon, he didn't doubt that Yang Hongwu, that bastard, would drag him down with him. For the sake of his own life, the Demon Saint had no choice but to make a move. With a wave of his hand, a huge demonic hand flew out and bombarded the Bone Dragon, as if to smash the huge golden Bone Dragon into pieces. How dare you provoke me?" The skeletal dragon was enraged. He didn't put this little devil in his eyes at all. He thought that this little devil would be frightened by his might and run away. Who would have thought that this little devil would dare to attack him? This was simply a provocation that couldn't be tolerated. The skeletal dragon's huge body moved and swung its tail. Divine Dragon Tail Whip. Rumble! Rumble! The huge dragon tail glowed like a huge whip, shattering the entire space. Crack! Crack! The space began to collapse, forming a terrifying spatial crack. If one were to fall into it, it would be extremely dangerous. The Devil Saint's palm was shattered in an instant. Kong Chiu's body was sent flying by the terrifying force. The difference was too great, they weren't even on the same level. The Demon Saint was extremely sullen after being sent flying. He was the famous Confucius Saint. Even if he was just a Demon Saint, he was still a Confucius Saint. But now, he had fallen to such a state. All of this was because of that damned God refinement great emperor. If he hadn't been sealed here for so many years, his strength would have long surpassed that of a great emperor. Anger, resentment, all of these were born. Kong Chiu's strength was rising continuously. Rumble! Black clouds appeared one after another as terrifying devils appeared around Kong Chiu. These devils were incomparably evil. These were the immemorial heavenly devils. Seeing these immemorial heavenly devils, the skeletal dragon was shocked. What a little devil! To think that he could trigger the immemorial devil Dao law and connect with the immemorial devil domain. His talent isn't bad. This is just a strand of devil will. To think that a strand of devil will could trigger the immemorial devil Dao law. I've underestimated him. Originally, when the skeletal dragon's claws were about to claw Yang Hongwu, it stopped because of the immemorial devil Dao law. It seemed that the immemorial devil Dao law was more interesting to it. At this moment, the dragon pearl in Yang Hongwu's body burst out with a terrifying golden light. This golden light contained the supreme power of law. That was the Dragon Dao Law. What was the Dragon Dao Law? That was the supreme law of the Dragon Realm. The Dragon Realm was the natal world of the primordial revered dragon. The law of this world was called the ultimate law of the Dragon Dao. The ultimate law of the Dragon Dao had a restriction on any dragon. No dragon could violate the shackles of the ultimate law of the Dragon Dao. Even the immemorial revered dragon himself was no exception. He was restricted by the Dragon Dao Law and couldn't break free from the control of the Dragon Dao Law. Yang Hanwu didn't know about these things. However, the skeletal dragon knew that this skeletal dragon was actually cultivated from the bone of the immemorial revered dragon. Who was the immemorial revered dragon? That was a true unparalleled expert, an existence that surpassed the god refinement great emperor. Even if it was just a fingernail or a strand of hair, it was still extremely terrifying. He was a peerless existence. Now that this bone had grown for so many years and turned into a bone dragon, its strength was comparable to that of a great emperor. Ordinary great emperors wouldn't be a match for it. However, when the powerful bone dragon sensed the existence of the Tao of Dragons, its face was immediately filled with fear. It was as if it had seen something that would cost its life. It was so scared that it started to tremble. Damn it, this is the Dragon Dao Law. How is this possible? Damn human, are you the reincarnation of the immemorial revered dragon? If one wasn't the reincarnation of the primordial revered dragon, no one would be able to use the Dragon Dao technique. Since the primordial revered dragon, countless geniuses had emerged in the dragon race. However, none of these geniuses had comprehended a trace of the Dragon Dao technique. Since the era of the primordial revered dragon, countless years had passed and no one had comprehended a trace of the Dragon Dao technique. Therefore, the dragon race believed that the Dragon Dao technique could only be cultivated by the founder, the primordial revered dragon. No one else could comprehend it, not even the descendants of the primordial revered dragon. Chapter 701. Primordial revered dragon. Damn it, this is a conspiracy. The skeletal dragon roared in his heart. He was afraid that the damned primordial revered dragon had left him behind on purpose to enhance his reincarnation's cultivation or to protect him. Damn it, this is too despicable. I can't let him have his way. The skeletal dragon was so scared that he didn't dare to get close. He turned around and tried to escape. Great Demon Saint Kong Chiu and Sherbauer were stunned to see the terrifying skeletal dragon running away. The skeletal dragon was so powerful that even Sherbauer wasn't confident that he could deal with it. He could only think of ways to escape, but he couldn't believe what he saw. Just a moment ago, he was still domineering, arrogant, and despotic, and wanted to crush Yang Hanwu into pieces. Now, he was like a mouse that had seen a cat. His speed of escape was extremely fast. However, it was too late. The dragon pearl released a golden light. The golden light shot out as if it had turned into a huge golden net. This huge golden net caught the bone dragon in an instant. Damn it, I knew there was a conspiracy. Damned primordial revered dragon, you bastard. The skeletal dragon roared and struggled frantically, but he couldn't break free from the terrifying golden net. Yang Hanwu, Sherbauer, and Great Demon Saint Kong Chiu were stunned. What's going on? Primordial revered dragon, what's going on? They could see that the golden light shot out from Yang Hanwu's body. After the golden light shot out, it turned into a large net. This net was actually very powerful. The skeletal dragon's power was definitely at the Great Emperor level. Even Great Demon Saint Kong Chiu was no match for it. As for that net, it actually trapped him, making it impossible for him to break free. From his words, they could tell that the net was the work of the primordial revered dragon. Who was the primordial revered dragon? Was he an expert from the primordial era? Luli, do you know who the primordial revered dragon is? Yang Hanwu asked. I don't know who the primordial revered dragon is. Luli shook his head. I've never heard of him. Sherbauer had lived for a long time, but he had never heard of the primordial revered dragon. Could he be a character from the primordial era? Sure, Bauer asked. Primordial era? Yang Hanwu was confused. What was the difference between the primordial era and the primordial era? Yes. It's normal that we haven't heard of the primordial era. Primordial era, sure, Bauer era. Primordial era refers to the era of the ancient era. Primordial era refers to the era, the primordial era. Is primordial revered era? If we can subdue this bone dragon, we'll know by asking, Yang Hanwu said. Li and li was li dragon li dragon. I feel that the strength of the bone dragon is extraordinary. Even when I was at my peak in my previous life, I was no match for it. Luli looked at Yang Hanwu and asked. The bone dragon was too powerful, but it couldn't resist the suppression of the golden net. It was incredible. He had never heard of such a powerful treasure that could trap a super strong great emperor realm expert. Yang Hanwu spread out his hands and said, Don't ask me, I also don't know what's going on. This golden light came from a dragon pearl inside my body. My body was once crippled, turning me into a waste that couldn't cultivate. Later on, I obtained a dragon pearl. This dragon pearl reconstructed my body, making me a formidable 9 dragons sacred body. After reconstructing my body, the dragon pearl disappeared. I thought that I had completely refined this dragon pearl and turned it into my body. But I didn't expect that this time, after being stimulated by the bone dragon, another dragon pearl would appear inside my body. Yes, I feel it. It's indeed a dragon pearl. The dragon pearl is filled with an ancient aura. The primordial revered dragon. The bone dragon said the primordial revered dragon. This dragon pearl is probably the dragon pearl of the primordial revered dragon. Are you the reincarnation of the legendary primordial revered dragon? Sure, Bauer asked. Yes, it's possible. I felt the noble and ancient aura in your body before. Even my original body in my previous life couldn't compare. Luli nodded in agreement. Look! At this moment, Luli exclaimed and shifted Yang Hanwu's attention to the bone dragon. At this moment, the huge bone dragon had undergone a transformation. Its huge body kept shrinking until it was nothing more than a piece of bone. It was a piece of dragon bone. There was a mysterious aura on the dragon bone. Yang Hanwu felt that this aura was very familiar. At this moment, the golden light dissipated. The huge dragon bone flew towards Yang Hanwu and entered Yang Hanwu's body. Yang Hanwu's body trembled, but he still couldn't move. Yang Hanwu was surprised to find that the dragon bone had merged with his spine after entering his body, forming his spine. Moreover, this was only a part of the dragon bone. According to this situation, this dragon bone had only fused with his spine by 1/9. Yang Hanwu suddenly had an idea. This dragon bone was deliberately left behind by the primordial dragon lord. Moreover, it wasn't just one piece, but 9 pieces of dragon bone. Boom! Yang Hanwu felt that his body had changed. His bones had become very strong. Compared to before, they were like heaven and earth. At this moment, the strength of his bones was definitely stronger than that of an ordinary sage. It could even be compared to a great sage. Moreover, at this time, the dragon soul had also changed. The dragon soul had almost condensed into a physical body. What surprised Yang Hanwu even more was that the dragon soul seemed to have given birth to its own consciousness. This was something that Yang Hanwu did not expect. Yes. The dragon soul was actually just a part of Yang Hanwu's primordial spirit. But now, this dragon soul had mutated and had its own consciousness. Yang Hanwu didn't know whether this was good or bad. The dragon soul had given birth to its own consciousness. Was it still his primordial spirit avatar? Could he still control this dragon soul that belonged to him? Yang Hanwu smiled bitterly. This time, he was in big trouble. Who left this dragon bone behind? What kind of person was the primordial dragon lord? Boom! Chapter 702. Entering the mountain of death, Yang Hanwu was deeply shaken. Was this the Dragon Bone's memory? Or was it the primordial revered dragon's memory? Powerful, it was unbelievably powerful. He didn't know when he would be able to cultivate to such a level, where he could easily destroy a small world with a single breath or sneeze. A small world like the ancient desolate continent, a small plain. After obtaining these memories, Yang Hanwu discovered that his mental strength had increased, and his soul power was many times stronger than before. In addition to Yang Hanwu, Xiaorui had also obtained a great deal of benefits. At that moment, Xiaorui's cultivation base had also undergone a great breakthrough. Her cultivation had reached the 6th level of the Venerable Realm. Yang Hanwu was overjoyed. Xiaorui was his battle spirit, and her cultivation had increased to the 6th level of the Venerable Realm. When he used the battle spirit possession, his cultivation could also erupt with the strength of a 6th level Venerable Realm expert. Furthermore, with the power of the profound Dragon 9 Changes Titan art, his battle strength could even kill a 7th level Venerable Realm expert. Seeing Yang Hanwu in a daze, Lu Li and Bauer hurriedly asked with concern, "Are you all right?" At this moment, the two of them had already left Yang Hanwu's spiritual sea and divine dwelling, so they didn't know anything about Yang Hanwu's situation. The bone dragon had just entered Yang Hanwu's body. It was so terrifying and powerful that even a great emperor might not be able to withstand it. What was Yang Hanwu's cultivation? What realm was Yang Hanwu at? If it was an ordinary person, there was an 80 to 90% chance that their body would explode. That was why the two of them were so worried. In the distance, Great Demon Saint Kong Chiu was also trembling with fear. This guy's aura was too terrifying. No wonder he could control his soul imprint. Great Demon Saint Kong Chiu smiled bitterly. It seemed that he might not be able to break the shackles of the soul imprint in this lifetime unless he gave it up willingly. "I'm fine." Yang Hanwu opened his eyes. When he saw the concern in the two's eyes, he revealed a smile and said in a calm tone, "Your cultivation has increased?" Bauer was a little surprised. He did not expect Yang Hanwu's cultivation to have improved so much under such circumstances. Moreover, Yang Hanwu's physical body had also undergone great changes. No, it could be said that it had turned the world upside down. It was too shocking. Yang Hanwu nodded. Yes. In fact, not only did Yang Hanwu's cultivation increase, but he also obtained another great benefit. Not only did his body become stronger, but he also obtained a supreme divine ability. This was the biggest gain. Your luck is truly heaven-defying. Could it be that you really are the reincarnation of the primordial sovereign dragon? Bauer was a little surprised. If he was the reincarnation of a powerful warrior from the immemorial age, then his luck was truly out of this world. However, this was not a good thing for Yang Hanwu. Once the consciousness of the primordial sovereign dragon was awakened and his memories were restored, would Yang Hanwu still be Yang Hanwu? Given his current situation, his strength, and his cultivation realm, how could he resist the invasion of the consciousness of a supreme warrior from the immemorial age like the primordial sovereign dragon? Once he was awakened, Yang Hanwu would probably lose his original consciousness and become the real primordial sovereign dragon. He would no longer be Yang Hanwu. Even if Bauer did not mention it, Yang Hanwu knew this. This was also what Yang Hanwu was worried about. If he was really the reincarnation of the primordial sovereign dragon, he would probably lose his current consciousness once he awakened the memories of the primordial sovereign dragon. In that case, he would be no different from being dead. Therefore, Yang Hanwu did not want to be the primordial sovereign dragon. Of course, Yang Hanwu was also prepared. Even if he really was the primordial sovereign dragon, he would not let him have the initiative. What he had to do was to constantly cultivate frantically and continuously improve his cultivation, increase his mind power, and strengthen the strength of his soul. Once he reached a certain level of strength, he would no longer need to fear the primordial sovereign dragon. At that time, even if he really was the reincarnation of the primordial sovereign dragon, his memories would just be memories. Yang Hanwu also knew that this was not an easy task, but he believed that he would definitely be able to do it. It doesn't matter whether I am or not. I'm still me. I'm not anyone else. I'm Yan Hanwu, Yan Hanwu said with clenched fists. Yes, you're you. Seeing Yan Hanwu thinking this way, Shi Bao nodded happily. He was very satisfied that Yan Hanwu could think this way. You must remember this. Only by doing this can you really grow up and become a real expert. Even if you regain your memories in the future, it won't have any effect on you. At most, it will just be a huge amount of memories. It's easy to say, but not so easy to do. Don't worry, Yan Hanwu said with a smile, I'm confident that I, Yan Hanwu, can definitely do it. Oh no, this place is going to collapse. At this time, the entire Earth Demon Mountain began to shake violently. The entire Earth Demon Mountain was about to collapse. Luli shouted as her body flew into the air. Yan Hanwu and Shi Bao looked at each other. Shi Bao turned into a green light and entered Yan Hanwu's spiritual abode. Yan Hanwu waved his hand and a warship appeared in front of Yan Hanwu. In the blink of an eye, Yan Hanwu entered the warship. Yan Hanwu obtained this warship from the Tianyi Immortal Mansion. There were not many warships like this in the Tianyi Immortal Mansion. After all, it was a king-grade warship. After entering the warship, Yan Hanwu communicated with Demon Saint Kong Qiu with his mind power. Demon Saint Kong Qiu had already escaped by this time. Yan Hanwu did not hesitate. He started the warship and left the Earth Demon Mountain. In the next moment, the entire Earth Demon Mountain collapsed with a loud bang. The original mountain turned into a huge ruin with smoke and dust billowing. After a while, when the smoke and dust dispersed, a huge sunken pit appeared where the Earth Demon Mountain used to be. It was like an ancient sinkhole. In this sinkhole, an ancient aura was emitted. This aura was filled with the aura of desolation and destruction. Yan Hanwu was secretly surprised. Could there be something else, or some other secret? Yan Hanwu communicated with Mauer, Mauer, take a look. What's down there? See if you can see it. Yan Hanwu wanted to know where this desolation and destruction aura came from. Could it be produced by the bone dragon that became his spine? There's a passage. Mauer said weakly after a while, this passage is filled with the aura of death. A passage? Filled with the aura of death? Chapter 703. Ancient sorcery text. You can sense it. Are you sure this is the entrance to the Death Mountain? Or is this the passage to the sorcerer world? Yan Hanwu looked at Demon Saint Kong Qiu's question. If it was true, it would save him a lot of trouble. Of course, it was also very dangerous. Not to mention other things, just the death chi in the passage below was difficult to deal with. There might be some terrifying existence in the passage. I'm sure of this. Of course, you can choose not to believe me. Demon Saint Kong Qiu said, as long as I bring you into the witch world, you have to release my soul imprint. This is the deal between us. If you don't want to believe me, then the deal between us ends here. What he said was the truth. If he didn't believe him, then the contract would be cancelled and the soul mark would disappear automatically. In this way, he wouldn't be able to control Demon Saint Kong Qiu. Yan Hanwu frowned. At this moment, Shi Bao's voice sounded, believe him. Yan Hanwu nodded. Since Shi Bao had spoken, he had nothing to worry about. Shi Bao had recovered a lot of his strength and was much stronger than before. In addition, Yan Hanwu's own strength had also increased a lot. Now, Yan Hanwu's cultivation had reached level 5 of the Divine Realm. In addition, Little Rui's battle spirit shadow had greatly improved. His combat strength was very powerful. As long as he didn't encounter a Sage Realm expert, Yan Hanwu didn't have to worry about his safety. Of course, the sorcerer world was very mysterious. No one knew how many experts there were. There would definitely be Sage Realm experts as his enemies. Okay, I believe you. Now, how can we enter the sorcerer world? Yan Hanwu looked at Demon Saint Kong Qiu and asked. He didn't have a way to enter the sorcerer world. Yang Hanwu didn't think that entering the passage here would be very dangerous. The passage seemed to be very unstable. In such a situation, if an accident were to happen after entering the passage, it would be very troublesome. They might be teleported to an unknown space, which was not a good thing. Come up. Devil Sage Kong Chiu waved his hand and a small black boat appeared in front of him. There were ancient runes on the black boat. This is the ancient shaman script, Chiu shouted from within the heavenly shaman jar. Ancient witchcraft script? Is this the language of the sorcerer tribe? Yang Hanwu asked in surprise. No, the ancient sorcery script is a mysterious script that was born before the sorcerer tribe was born. I'm afraid that even the ancestor of sorcerer does not know the origin of the ancient sorcery script. I'm afraid that only the great god Panga knows the origin of the ancient sorcery script. Chiu shook his head. Yang Hanwu was extremely surprised. Was the ancient wizard script so mysterious? It was a language that existed before the sorcerer tribe was born. So, how could it be called the sorcerer language? However, even if he asked, he might not be able to get an answer. It was likely that Chiu himself did not know much. Perhaps, he would be able to find the answer after entering the sorcerer world. It seemed that the sorcerer world was far more than what he knew. It was not as simple as Devil Sage Kong Chiu or even Chiu had described. Perhaps, the sorcerer world was not created by the ancestor of sorcerer, but had existed since the beginning. Of course, this was only Yang Hongwu's suspicion. He did not know whether it was true or not. These shaman scripts were passed down from the Antiquity Age. They have existed since the Antiquity Age, Bauer said. This flying boat should be transformed from the leg bone of a mighty figure. Bauer looked at Devil Sage Kong Chiu's flying boat. You actually know about the ancient sorcery script. Yes, the script on this flying boat is indeed the ancient sorcery script. It's a pity that I did not receive the inheritance of the sorcerer tribe, so I can't understand the meaning of the ancient sorcery script and the mysterious power in it. However, this flying boat can safely pass through the entrance of the Death Mountain without being attacked by the deathly aura, Devil Sage Kong Chiu said. Yang Hanwu jumped up and entered the flying boat. In the flying boat, Yang Hanwu felt a mysterious power. It was a special power that was similar to the power of the heavenly sorcerer pot. Unfortunately, the heavenly sorcerer pot seemed to be damaged, and there was a big gap between it and the flying boat. Yang Hanwu, if you want to receive the inheritance of the sorcerer tribe, I suggest you get your hands on this flying boat, Chiu said. Yang Hanwu rolled his eyes. What a joke! Get his hands on this flying boat? He was still cooperating with Devil Sage Kong Chiu. Even if they fell out and snatched the flying boat, Yang Hanwu was not absolutely sure that he could do it. Although Devil Sage Kong Chiu was afraid of his threat, that was because of the soul mark. If Devil Sage Kong Chiu went all out, Jian Wushuang would be no match for him. Even if Xian Yu woke up and became stronger, with the help of Bauer, she might not be able to kill Devil Sage Kong Chiu. At that time, both sides might suffer great losses. Yang Hanwu really wanted this flying boat. Such a treasure was comparable to the heavenly sorcerer pot, or even better. Who wouldn't want it? Therefore, Yang Hanwu did not take Chiu's warning seriously. Chiu was hiding a lot of secrets. Although the heavenly sorcerer pot had recognized him as its master, Yang Hanwu did not think that Chiu would do the same. If he really thought that, Yang Hanwu would be a fool. Who was Chiu? He was the powerful leader of the Jiuli tribe. At that time, the Jiuli tribe did not only have the bloodline of the sorcerer tribe. There was no doubt about Chiu's power. He was a very ambitious person. It was just that Chiu's ambition was not exposed here. Yang Hanwu wouldn't listen to everything he said. Whatever he said was what it was. Yang Hanwu could not treat Chiu like how he treated Bauer. Yang Hanwu had a lot of reservations about Chiu. Moreover, his relationship with Chiu was actually the same as his relationship with the Devil Sage Kong Chiu. There wasn't much difference. Are you ready? Devil Sage Kong Chiu looked at Yang Hanwu and said, I'm going to start the flying boat immediately and enter the Death Mountain. The Death Mountain is very dangerous. Let me remind you again. Although I have this flying boat, it is still very dangerous to enter the Death Mountain. If you are not careful, you may die. Didn't you say that you have absolute confidence in sending me into the sorcerer realm? Yang Hanwu said, why are you saying this now? Chapter 704. Witch ghosts, be careful, we're about to enter the Death Mountain. There will be many witch ghosts coming to trouble us. Demon Saint Kong Chiu said solemnly. Witch ghosts were a type of strange beast. They were powerful and destructive. What was even more terrifying was that they had stealth techniques. Ordinary people wouldn't be able to see them at all. The witch ghosts didn't move alone. They moved in groups and were very terrifying. On the way to the Death Mountain, many warriors had died under the claws of the witch ghosts. Witch ghosts? Yang Hanwu squinted his eyes. Chiyu had told Yang Hanwu everything about the witch ghosts. He wasn't worried about the witch ghosts. With Mao around, the delusion breaker, I could see where the witch ghosts were hiding. If the witch ghosts wanted to ambush them, he wasn't worried at all. After less than half an hour, Yang Hanwu asked Demon Saint Kong Chiu to stop. What's going on? Why did you stop? Demon Saint Kong Chiu frowned and said with dissatisfaction. Of course there's a reason why I asked you to stop. Yang Hongwu's tone was heavy. There was a large group of witch ghosts in front of them. The number of witch ghosts had exceeded Yang Hongwu's imagination. According to Chiyu, witch ghosts were usually in small groups. Although they were social animals, the number of witch ghosts in each group wouldn't exceed 100. However, not far from them, there were thousands or even tens of thousands of witch ghosts. With so many witch ghosts gathered here, it definitely wasn't a good thing. It's the Witch Ghost Emperor. It must be the Witch Ghost Emperor. Chiyu shouted. Go, leave this place. Leave this place quickly. Chiyu's words were very anxious. Witch Ghost Emperor. Yang Hongwu's face sank. The Witch Ghost Emperor's strength was extremely terrifying. It wasn't easy to deal with him. Moreover, in this damned place, everyone's strength was suppressed. Even Yang Hongwu's cultivation was suppressed. The death chi here was too terrifying. It didn't feel like they were in the human world. It felt like they were in the city of death and hell. Demon Saint, let's change the path. We'll go in another direction. Yang Hanwu said. Why? This path is the shortest. In at most a few dozen breaths, we will be able to enter the passage to the shaman realm. Demon Saint Kong Chiu frowned. Things had already come to this point, and he was actually going to change his path. How could that be possible? If that was the case, then everything would have been for naught. It would not be so easy to change to another path. The Witch Ghost Emperor is here. If you have the confidence to deal with the Witch Ghost Emperor and the tens of thousands of witch ghosts, this path is not a problem, Yang Hanwu said coldly. What? Are you kidding me? How could the Witch Ghost Emperor appear? Isn't the Witch Ghost Emperor unable to appear due to the restriction of the laws? Demon Sage Kong Chiu shrieked in disbelief. The Witchcraft Ghost Emperor was a legendary existence. The true realm of the Witchcraft Ghost Emperor was equivalent to the Great Saint realm of human warriors. However, the Witchcraft Ghost Emperor had special means. If the Witchcraft Ghost Emperor hid himself, even great emperors or experts who had surpassed great emperors might not be able to find him. Moreover, the scariest thing about the Witchcraft Ghost Emperor was that he could split himself into witch ghosts. These witch ghosts that were split apart were also very powerful. With the terrifying ability to split apart and the shocking concealment technique, it was no wonder that people would turn pale upon hearing his name. It's fine if you don't believe me. Yang Hanwu said coldly, if you insist on going, I won't stop you. However, you have to put us down first. Alright, I'll believe you this time. Demon Saint Kong Chiu saw that Yang Hongwu's tone did not seem like he was lying. Thus, he nodded his head. Something like the Witchcraft Ghost Emperor was definitely a deadly existence. It was better to believe in his existence than not. No, it's too late. The witchcraft ghost emperor has already awakened. At this moment, Chiyu shouted. Yang Hongwu's expression was heavy. Swishing sounds could be heard continuously. Numerous animals appeared in the surroundings. Those were black things, and they were witch ghosts. These witch ghosts were densely packed, and they surrounded the entire flying boat in an instant. Damn it, how could this be? Demon Saint Kong Chiu cursed in his heart. Get lost. Demon Saint's boat, burn with Demon Saint's flame. The entire black boat suddenly sped up, and the surrounding burned with raging flames. These black flames were shockingly powerful. One by one, the witch ghosts were burned by these terrifying flames. Sizzling sounds could be heard in the air. Some of the witch ghosts were burned by the flames, and crackling sounds could be heard. However, these witch ghosts did not seem to know fear. They continued to attack crazily. One after another, they were densely packed together. It was enough to make one's scalp numb and a chill run down one's spine. There are too many of them. Although the Demon Saint's boat was powerful, it could not withstand the attacks of so many witch ghosts. Witchcraft Ghost Emperor, we have to kill him first. Yang Hongwu shouted. As the saying goes, capture the leader first to capture the bandits. They had to capture the Witchcraft Ghost Emperor or kill him first. Only then would they be able to repel these witch ghosts. If they could not find the Witchcraft Ghost Emperor, then things would be troublesome. Killing the Witchcraft Ghost Emperor is easier said than done. We haven't even seen his face yet. How can we kill him? Demon Saint Kong Chiu said anxiously. Yang Hongwu, you just discovered the existence of the Witchcraft Ghost Emperor. Can you find his exact location now? Yang Hongwu shook his head. The existence of the Witchcraft Ghost Emperor was discovered by Chiyu, not him. Although he could borrow the Delusion Breaker Eye of Mauer, it could not find the exact location of the Witchcraft Ghost Emperor. Then what should we do? If we can't find the Witchcraft Ghost Emperor, then we will all die here. Looking at the increasing number of witch ghosts surrounding them, the great demon Saint Kong Chiu started to get anxious as well. It wasn't easy for him to come here, and he was about to regain his freedom. He didn't want to die here in such a humiliating manner. His goal was to kill Saint Kong and become the real Kong Chiu, the real Kong Saint. He had not achieved his goal yet. How could he die here? Let me think of a way. Yang Hongwu hurriedly said. Chiyu knew about the existence of the Witchcraft Ghost Emperor. Since he could discover him once, he could definitely discover him a second time. Moreover, the Witchcraft Ghost Emperor should have a weakness. If he could find the weakness of the Witchcraft Ghost Emperor, then the Witchcraft Ghost Emperor would not be so scary. Therefore, Yang Hongwu communicated with Chiyu. Chiyu, you can see the Witchcraft Ghost Emperor? Chapter 705. Heaven-devouring rat wake Xing Tian up? Yang Hongwu looked at the heaven punishment battle chart. It would be too difficult to wake Xing Tian up. Although Xing Tian was inside the heaven punishment battle chart, he didn't have his source nor his memories. It would be too difficult to wake Xing Tian up. Unless Yang Hongwu could find Xing Tian's source, then there might be a chance to wake Xing Tian up. But where could he find Xing Tian's origin in this place? Wasn't that bullshit? This was something that made Yang Hongwu very depressed. Is there no other way? Looking at the Witch Ghost Emperor who was getting closer and closer, time was running out. If they didn't deal with it now, they wouldn't be able to hold on and everyone would die here. There's no other way. I can delay him for 2 hours at most. If we can't find another way in 2 hours, only death awaits us. Chiyu said. With Chiyu's strength, he could only delay the Witch Ghost Emperor for 2 hours. Yang Hongwu didn't believe it. Looking at Chiyu's expression, this guy definitely had some strength left. Yang Hongwu even suspected that this guy knew that this would happen, but he didn't say anything. Yang Hongwu couldn't do anything about it. 2 hours it is. Yang Hongwu said. Now, an hour was the limit for Yang Hongwu and Demon Saint Kong Chiu. Chiyu could still delay for 2 hours, a little more time would be good. Alright, you have to find a way to restore Xingtian's origin and wake him up. I know you have a way. There's a strong existence in your spiritual dwellings. They definitely have a way to wake Xingtian up, Chiyu said as he controlled the heavenly magus pot to fly out. The heavenly magus pot turned into a huge pot. The pot spun continuously, forming a terrifying vortex. This vortex seemed to be able to swallow the entire world. Chiyu's figure was like a devil god of heaven and earth. He had a pair of sharp horns on his head and looked like a bull. His hands were clenching a terrifying battle saber. That was Chiyu's tiger soul saber. It was a terrifying devil saber that emitted a terrifying killing chi. The killing chi condensed into a terrifying devil god, as if it could slaughter all living things in the world. Wherever the demonic blade went, everything turned into dust. The witch ghosts were killed and turned into pure energy. A voice sounded in Yang Hongwu's spiritual dwellings. It was the Immortal Tower's voice. I have a way to wake Xingtian up. It wasn't the Immortal Tower's spirit, Xianyu. It was the illusory cloud rat's voice. Yang Hongwu was extremely surprised. The illusory cloud rat was now awake. This fellow's strength wasn't that great. It was only half an 8th level savage beast. How could this fellow know how to wake Xingtian up? Was this fellow really an illusory cloud rat? How could an illusory cloud rat know so much? Could it be an untainted variant beast? Or was this fellow really a venerable beast before? If that was the case, it would be strange. Alright, then tell me what you have in mind. Yang Hongwu couldn't think of any way to deal with the witch ghosts, nor could he wake Xingtian up. Since the illusory cloud rat said that it had a way, perhaps it really could be done. There was no harm in listening to it. Give me the heaven punishment battle diagram. The illusory cloud rat's request made Yang Hongwu frown. Give him the heaven punishment battle diagram? What was this fellow trying to do? The heaven punishment battle diagram had already recognized him as its master. He couldn't control it at all. Moreover, the heaven punishment battle diagram wasn't something he could use. It wasn't that Yang Hongwu was afraid of the illusory cloud rat seizing the heaven punishment battle diagram. Although the illusory cloud rat was no longer his battle pet, Yang Hongwu could still control it. Its life was still in his hands. If he wanted to, he could easily take the illusory cloud rat's life. You really have a way? Don't lie to me. Otherwise, you know the consequences. The heaven punishment battle diagram was a powerful treasure. It could summon Xingtian to battle. Xingtian was a great sorcerer. Its fighting strength was very terrifying. If there was enough power to support it, it could fight against a saint, or even a great saint in the future. I wouldn't dare to lie to you. Don't underestimate this venerable beast. Do you think this venerable beast would use such a low-level method? The illusory cloud rat said. Yang Hongwu rolled his eyes. This fellow was still the same as before. Alright. Yang Hongwu opened the immortal pagoda and released the illusory cloud rat. Then, the heaven punishment battle diagram flew out and landed on the illusory cloud rat. The illusory cloud rat grabbed the heaven punishment battle diagram. Then, a scene that surprised Yang Hongwu happened. After the heaven punishment battle diagram fell into the illusory cloud rat's hands, it underwent an unexpected change. The heaven punishment battle diagram was actually able to absorb the boundless death chi in the passageway. After the death chi entered the heaven punishment battle diagram, it turned into sorcery power, which constantly tempered and strengthened the heaven punishment battle diagram, and used it to restore the heaven punishment battle diagram's origin. On the illusory cloud rat's body, powerful precepts appeared and formed strange runes. They vaguely had the power to devour heaven and earth. This was the illusory cloud rat devouring the death chi in the surrounding space and turning it into sorcery power. What was the origin of this illusory cloud rat? How could it be so powerful? Such a terrifying ability had blinded Yang Hongwu. Shi Baoer, Great Demon Saint Kong Chiu, and Chiyu all opened their eyes wide in shock. How could this little rat be so powerful? What was going on? This is the ancient sky-devouring rat? Great Demon Saint Kong Chio suddenly exclaimed. Ancient sky-devouring rat? Upon hearing this, Chiyu and Shirbauer were also shocked. The sky-devouring rat was a mighty and domineering name. It could even devour the sky. How could it not be powerful? The sky-devouring rat was a powerful exotic beast in the antiquity times. This exotic beast was one of the top 10 ancient races. It was extremely powerful and could devour heaven and earth. Even the ancient dragons could become its food. This showed how ferocious this exotic beast was. Dragons were an absolutely powerful race. No matter what era they were in, they were the most powerful race. The sky-devouring rat could feed on dragons. It was easy to imagine how powerful it was. No way. Why doesn't this thing look like one? Yang Hanwu knew about the sky-swallowing rat. It was just a rat, an illusory cloud rat. It was extremely weak. Otherwise, it would not have been able to become Yang Hanwu's war pet with a small blood pet elixir. Moreover, this guy only had the ability to use illusions. It had never shown any devouring power. The sky-devouring rat had a powerful devouring power and could devour heaven and earth. However, he had never heard of the sky-devouring rat being able to use illusions. Therefore, Yang Hanwu did not believe it at all. Chapter 706. The Heaven Punishment Battle Diagram's transformation. The Heaven Punishment Battle Diagram's aura became stronger and stronger as the heaven-devouring rat continued to devour and convert. Yang Hanwu was pleasantly surprised. The Heaven Punishment Battle Diagram was becoming stronger, which meant that the Heaven Punishment Battle Diagram's origin was recovering and becoming stronger. As long as the Heaven Punishment Battle Diagram's origin recovered to a certain extent, Xing Tian's original body would be able to awaken. Once Xing Tian's soul awakened, he would be able to deal with the Witch Ghost Emperor. As long as he could control the Witch Ghost Emperor, he would be able to pass through the mountain of death and enter the witch world unimpeded, saving him a lot of trouble and danger. About an hour had passed. The heaven-devouring rat's speed of devouring the death chi slowed down. At this moment, the Heaven Punishment Battle Diagram seemed to have reached its limit. It has reached its limit. Soon, the heaven-devouring rat's voice sounded in Yang Hongwu's mind. It has reached its limit. Why hasn't Xing Tian awakened yet? Yang Hongwu frowned. Although the sky-devouring rat was powerful, it wasn't strong at this time. It didn't have the power of an ancient sky-devouring rat, so it couldn't deal with so many witch ghosts, not to mention the Witch Ghost King. Yang Hongwu hoped that Xing Tian's soul would awaken quickly. As long as Xing Tian awakened, he would have a way to control the Witch Ghost Emperor. Even if he couldn't subdue the Witch Ghost Emperor, he could temporarily disturb the Witch Ghost Emperor and let them enter the witch world through the witch world. Heaven-devouring rat, can you absorb some more? Yang Hongwu asked. The illusory cloud rat had turned into the heaven-devouring rat. Yang Hongwu was more polite. After all, this guy's strength was much stronger than before. If it was really as he said, and if he was the sovereign beast before, then he would be very powerful. Master, I can't. It's not that I don't want to, but the Heaven Punishment Battle Diagram has reached its limit. It can't absorb any more spiritual chi. The heaven-devouring rat shook its head. Alright, you can enter the Immortal Tower to cultivate. Yang Hongwu said helplessly. In this situation, Yang Hongwu didn't know what to do. Right. Yang Hongwu suddenly thought of something. Would it be helpful if he used his right hand to activate the demon hand? Before, the Earth Demon Emperor had said that his right hand might be the right hand of the Ancestor Devil. The Ancestor Devil was extremely powerful, he was an existence that surpassed great emperors. The Ancestor Devil's strength was boundless, would it be able to deal with the Witch Ghost Emperor? Looking at the densely packed Wu Gui, Demon Saint Kong Chiu, Chiyu, and the others could no longer hold on. They could only try their best. He wanted to see if he could really deal with this hateful Wu Gui. Just as Yang Hanwu was about to activate the Devil's Hand, the Heaven Punishment Battle Diagram transformed. The Heaven Punishment Battle Diagram flew out and turned into a huge black cloud. It covered the sky and the sun and enveloped the Witch Ghost Emperor. When the Witch Ghost Emperor saw the Heaven Punishment Battle Diagram flying towards him, it was as if he had encountered some great terror. He became very uneasy and became even crazier. A terrifying energy burst out, and the space was shattered by that terrifying energy. The death chi surged, and the entire Death Mountain shook as if it was about to explode. Yang Hanwu knew that things weren't good. If it were to explode, it would be really troublesome. Damn it! How could this be? At this moment, Yang Hanwu realized that the Heaven Punishment Battle Diagram had sent out a message: "Leave this Witch Ghost Emperor to me." Xingtian? Could it be Xingtian? Yang Hanwu was overjoyed. Was this consciousness of Xingtian? If it was really Xingtian who had awakened, that would be great. Great Shaman Xingtian has awakened. No, that's not right. It's not Great Shaman Xingtian. Qiyu shook his head. It's not. Yang Hanwu was stunned. He looked at Qiyu and asked, if it's not Xingtian, then who is it? It should be the weapon spirit of the Heaven Punishment Battle Diagram. Qiyu smiled bitterly and shook his head. However, there's no need to worry about the Witch Ghost Emperor. Although the weapon spirit of the Heaven Punishment Battle Diagram isn't Xingtian, it can still resist the Witch Ghost Emperor. In fact, it's easier to deal with the Witch Ghost Emperor than Great Shaman Xingtian. As soon as Qiyu finished speaking, the Heaven Punishment Battle Diagram trapped the Witch Ghost Emperor. A terrifying airflow pulled the Witch Ghost Emperor into the Heaven Punishment Battle Diagram. The other Witch Ghosts were also pulled into the Heaven Punishment Battle Diagram. The Heaven Punishment Battle Diagram seemed to be the natural nemesis of the Witch Ghosts. Not a single one of them could escape. Powerful. Is this the transformed Xingtian battle map? Qi was also surprised, worthy of being refined by Xingtian Great Witch. His Heavenly Shaman Jar was still a bit weaker than the Heaven Punishment Battle Diagram. If his Heavenly Shaman Jar was restored, it might be able to compete with the Heaven Punishment Battle Diagram. However, the Heavenly Shaman Jar wasn't refined by him. He had to admit that there was a huge gap between him and Xingtian. Yang Hanwu was also very surprised. He didn't expect the transformed Heaven Punishment Battle Diagram to be so powerful. It was so effective against the Witch Ghosts. This made him feel relieved. It seemed that entering the Witch world wasn't a big problem anymore. After the Heaven Punishment Battle Diagram devoured the Witch Ghost Emperor, it released a majestic power. This was the Witch Power. It was fed back into Yang Hanwu's body. The Nine Dragons Saint body wasn't that simple. The Witch Power entered Yang Hanwu's body and made it stronger. The Nine Dragons Saint body was activated. A black dragon kept moving and growing. The Nine Dragons Saint body was the strongest of the 9 divine dragons. The first to awaken was the Golden Dragon. Unexpectedly, the second to awaken was the Black Dragon. This Black Dragon had the ability to devour the Death Chi. Yang Hanwu found that after the Black Dragon woke up, the Death Chi around it could be absorbed and refined by it. In other words, Yang Hanwu didn't have to worry about the Death Chi. The Death Chi didn't have any effect on him. On the contrary, the Death Chi could increase Yang Hanwu's cultivation. It was a great help to the body. Vitality, Death Chi. The Black Dragon's dragon soul was awakened. At the same time, the divine dragon that controlled vitality was also awakened. This surprised Yang Hanwu to the extreme. The divine dragon that controlled vitality was an emerald dragon. At this time, 3 divine dragons had awakened in Yang Hanwu's body. Compared to before, his strength was much stronger. Especially his soul power, it was several times stronger. At this time, if Yang Hanwu used the battle spirit possession, the time it would take him was several times longer than before. Your cultivation has increased again? Looking at Yang Hanwu's changes, Demon Saint Kong Chiu was shocked. This guy was too abnormal. When Kong Shin came to this world, his cultivation speed was far inferior to Yang Hanwu's. Yang Hanwu was really abnormal. That's great. Different from Demon St. Kongqiu's shock, Bauer and Nini were very happy to see Yang Hongwu's cultivation improve again. At this moment, Yang Hongwu's cultivation was only a sliver away from another breakthrough. Chapter 707. Entering the Sorcerer World. Let's go, let's enter the Sorcerer World. Yang Hanwu shouted. At this moment, Yang Hanwu was no longer afraid of the death chi. Entering the Sorcerer World was no longer the same as before, where they had to rely on Demon St. Kongqiu's Demon Saint boat. Even without the Demon Saint boat, they could still enter. But there was one thing, and that was that they were worried about encountering powerful beasts. However, if they were to encounter powerful beasts, it would be dangerous even if they were in the Demon Saint boat. Yang Hanwu had no confidence in using space shift, but the Demon Saint boat was very fast here, much faster than Yang Hanwu entering by himself. If he could save some energy, Yang Hanwu would definitely not waste it. After a few hours, Yang Hanwu and the rest finally entered the Sorcerer World. This place was filled with dense sorcerer energy, and the surroundings were desolate. The mountains were broken, and the palaces seemed to have been hit by a huge force, turning into ruins. Sorcerer World, is this the Sorcerer World? Yang Hanwu was a little doubtful. There was not much life chi here. It was impossible for the sorcerer race to live in a place of death. There was not enough life chi here, and the death chi was too dense. Could it be that they had been hit by some terrifying force? Was it because of the Great Sorcerer War? That was not possible. So many years had passed since the Great Sorcerer War, how could it still be like this? Ka. Be careful. Hearing the sound, Yang Hongwu's face changed. At this moment, skeletal hands reached out from the ground. Skeletons climbed out from the ground one by one. How could this be? Chiyu's face fell. These skeletons were obviously not from the sorcerer race. The skeletons of the sorcerer race would not be so short. These skeletons were densely packed, but they were not tall. Obviously, these dead guys were not from the sorcerer race. This is the undead spirit race. Demon St. Kongqiu's face was solemn. The undead spirit race was one of the terrifying races of the extraterritorial race. Like the demon race, they had always wanted to conquer the 9 heavens and 10 earths. They had once launched countless attacks on the 9 heavens and 10 earths together with the demon race. But none of them succeeded. He did not expect to find the undead spirit clan in the sorcerer world. However, these undead spirit clan were low-level undead spirits. They were just some zombies and skeletons. They were not very powerful. Furthermore, without a powerful leader to control them, these fellows would not be able to do anything at all. Yang Hanwu, use your Yama's invitation. Bauer's voice sounded in Yang Hongwu's mind. Yama's invitation is the nemesis of the undead clan. After hearing this, Yang Hanwu nodded. Indeed, Yama's invitation could collect skeletons. In the Yellow Spring River, there were countless skeletons. Back then, Yang Hanwu had used up a lot of skeletons to summon the skeleton generals to fight, which led to a huge loss of skeletons in the Yellow Springs River. Now that there was such a good opportunity to replenish them, of course, Yang Hanwu would not waste it. The Yama's note opened and flew out. It seemed to have turned into a huge black cloud that covered the entire sky. Then, it formed a terrifying black vortex that looked like a huge black hole. It emitted a terrifying suction force and swallowed all the skeletons that crawled out from the ground. What a powerful Yama's note. Looking at this scene, Demon St. Kongqiu was extremely shocked. This Yama's invitation was definitely not ordinary. He could sense a horrifying aura coming from it. This was an emperor weapon. This was definitely an emperor weapon. Yama's note was much more powerful than the Heaven Punishment Battle Diagram and the Heavenly Sorcerer Jar. After devouring these skeletons, the aura of Yama's note began to recover. Although it had not recovered to its peak state, Yang Hanwu knew that if it continued to devour the skeletons, the Yama's note would be replenished. The more skeletons it devoured, the stronger the power of Yama's note. Yang Hanwu could clearly feel this. These skeletons were the source of power of Yama's note. However, Yang Hanwu felt a little strange. Yama's note could not absorb the energy of death like the heaven punishment battle diagram. Instead, it relied on the skeletons in the Yellow Spring River to absorb energy. If this was the case, wouldn't the Yama's note lose its power when the skeletons in the Yellow Spring River were exhausted? That was not a good thing. Could it be that this Yama's note was sealed? Or was it incomplete? Yang Hanwu knew how powerful Yama's note was. When Yang Hanwu's cultivation had not reached the God realm, he might not know about this. But now, Yang Hanwu's cultivation had reached the God realm level 5. He was very clear about this. There were many secrets in Yama's note that Yang Hanwu could not see through. He had to wait for Yang Hanwu's cultivation to continue to improve before he could uncover them. What made Yang Hanwu puzzled was that Yama's note should have an artifact spirit. But why couldn't the artifact spirit awaken? What was the artifact spirit of Yama's note? This was an emperor artifact. Then, the artifact spirit of an emperor artifact should be very powerful. Let's move on. After collecting all the skeletons here, Yang Hanwu was still not satisfied. He wanted to collect more and stronger skeletons so that his Yama's note could be more powerful. Yang Hanwu had a premonition that he would encounter great danger in the future, and this Yama's invitation would be his greatest trump card. It might even be more helpful than the Heaven Punishment Battle portrait and the Heavenly Sorcerer's Jar. Be careful. There might be great danger here. There might be Sage Realm fierce beasts or even stronger. Demon Saint Kong Chiu said. When was the last time you entered the sorcerer world? Yang Hanwu asked curiously. This was before I was sealed. It was a long time ago. Demon Saint Kong Chiu said, at that time, there wasn't such a strong death chi here. There were many sorcerer tribes. The cultivation of those sorcerer tribes was not weak. The strongest one could even fight with a great Sage Realm expert. Great Sage Realm? You mean, there were great sorcerers at that time? Chiyu asked. That's right. Great sorcerers. Demon Saint Kong Chiu nodded. Great sorcerers had the highest authority in the sorcerer tribe. They were second only to the ancestral sorcerer. However, there were very few great sorcerers in the sorcerer tribe. Their strength was terrifying. In fact, their real combat strength could even be compared to a great emperor. Of course, if they really fought with a great emperor, it was impossible for a great sorcerer to win. The strength of a great emperor was too terrifying. Those who could fight with a great sorcerer were only fake emperors. There are only a few great sorcerers in the entire sorcerer tribe. Chiyu said coldly. His strength was still a step away from a great sorcerer. However, if it wasn't for the fact that his origin was damaged when he fought for the world with the Yellow Emperor, his strength would have reached the level of a great sorcerer or even surpass it. Chapter 708. Giant undead beast. Yang Hanwu had the map in his hand, so he wasn't worried at all. Everything would be simple once he entered the witch world. With the map in hand, it would be much easier to find the ancestral Magi Palace. Of course, there would be danger. No matter what, there would always be danger. As for powerful enemies, there would be many of them. Let's go. Yang Hanwu checked the map and said. My mission has been completed. Yang Hanwu, I should have handed over my soul imprint, right? At this moment, Sacred Devil Kong Chiu stopped and looked at Yang Hanwu. It was too dangerous here. Yang Hanwu's cultivation wasn't strong. Even if he had treasures and all kinds of trump cards, he still didn't want his soul imprint to be controlled by others. Have you thought it through? Yang Hanwu wasn't afraid that Demon Saint Kong Chiu would attack him. So what if he returned the soul imprint? As for attacking, he wouldn't dare unless he didn't want to live anymore. After all, the heavenly oath wasn't a joke. You're the successor of that old bastard. You've obtained his inheritance. That old bastard sealed me. How can I be with you? Demon Saint Kong Chiu said. Yan Hongwu sighed. Once this guy left, he would lose a powerful helper. All right. Although Yan Hongwu was very unwilling, he still returned the soul imprint to Demon Saint Kong Chiu. Little guy, we'll meet again. I hope that the next time I see you, you'll become a true expert and not rely on other things. Demon Saint Kong Chiu said loudly after he received his soul imprint. We'll meet again. Watching Kong Chiu's back view as he left, Bauer said, Why did you let him go? This demon saint is very powerful. If we can control him, we'll be in a lot less trouble and danger. Besides, his demon saint's arc is engraved with ancient witchcraft runes. If we can get our hands on it, we'll benefit greatly in the witch realm. I know. Yan Hongwu said. Then why did you let him go? Chi was also a little surprised. He couldn't understand why he let go of such a good fighter. Moreover, that guy was an enemy before. If Demon Saint Kong Chiu betrayed him, he would suddenly have another powerful enemy. The loss would outweigh the gain. He will come back, Yan Hongwu said with a smile. As the Heaven Punishment battle diagram absorbed more and more shaman power, it finally started to transform. The Heaven Punishment battle diagram's artifact spirit told Yan Hongwu that Xing Tian's origin would soon awaken. Because the Heaven Punishing origin was about to awaken, and Yan Hongwu's map had been fused into the Heaven Punishing battle diagram, she had obtained a new function, which was to investigate the situation within a 30,000-meter radius. And in this place, which was also the place where countless undead clan members had appeared. The strength of these undead clan members was much stronger than the undead skeletons they had just encountered. Among them, there was a giant undead beast with a terrifying aura, whose strength was equivalent to that of a great saint. In this place, Demon Saint Kong Chiu's strength was suppressed, and the giant undead beast's strength was so terrifying. There was a strong death chi here, and it was like a fish in water. Seeing Yan Hongwu so confident, everyone, including Mauer, was puzzled. Where did his confidence come from? This was the witch world. Everything was mysterious. Even Chiyu, as a member of the witch tribe, did not know what was going to happen in the witch world, what would happen, and what dangers they would encounter. Do you know something? Bauer asked. Don't speak in riddles. Xing Tian's origin in the Heaven Punishment battle diagram is about to awaken, and I have obtained a function that allows me to investigate the situation within a 30,000-meter radius in the witch world. We are now in danger, surrounded by the undead clan. Among these undead clan members, there is a terrifying giant undead beast whose strength is equivalent to that of a great saint. As for the other giant undead beasts, there are 5 of them that are equivalent to that of a sage. As for the other giant undead beasts, there are at least hundreds of thousands of them. Except for the giant undead beasts at the deity realm, sage realm, and great saint realm, which gave Yan Hongwu great pressure, the rest of the undead clan members were Yan Hongwu's greatest tonic. The origin of Xing Tian in the Heaven Punishment battle diagram was about to awaken, but he did not know when it would truly awaken. However, Yama's invitation was different. As long as enough undead clan members were sucked into the Yellow Spring River, the power of Yama's invitation would continue to grow. After discovering this, Yan Hongwu was a little suspicious. Was Yama's invitation originally a powerful emperor weapon of the undead clan? Otherwise, how could the more undead clan members were sucked into the Yellow Spring River, the more powerful the Yama's invitation would become? Yan Hongwu was very curious about this. Of course, even if Yama's invitation was originally a treasure of the undead clan, so what? Now that it had recognized him as its master, it was his. Dozens of breaths passed. A terrifying roar came from afar, shaking heaven and earth. Yan Hongwu found that Devil Saint Kong Chiu had already fought with the giant undead beast at this time. Devil Saint Kong Chiu's strength at this time was only equivalent to the peak of the Sage realm, but the giant undead beast he encountered was in the Great Saint realm. With Devil Saint Kong Chiu's strength, he was no match for it. How could he break through? Therefore, the only chance was to retreat and rely on Yan Hongwu's strength to block those undead clan experts. Because Yan Hongwu had a powerful treasure in his hands that could restrain the undead clan. Damn it, even a tiger will be bullied by dogs. After blocking the terrifying attack of the giant undead beast with a fierce blow, Devil St. Kong Chio quickly retreated. He clenched his teeth and cursed. He felt aggrieved. This was too aggrieved. When had he ever encountered such an aggrieved situation? He had finally escaped with great difficulty. But, he had never thought that he would encounter such a situation again. Even a giant undead beast of the great sage realm had bullied him to this extent. In fact, the intelligence of the giant undead beast was not very high, just like those human martial artists who were all brawn and no brains. However, although the giant undead beast's intelligence was not high, it was quite difficult to deal with. Once they set their mind on something, they would definitely fight to the death, and would never give up. Once entangled with them, they would not rest until one of them was dead. It was extremely troublesome. Therefore, although Devil St. Kong Chio quickly retreated in the direction of Yang Hongwu, he was still very angry in his heart. Damn beast, if it wasn't for the fact that my strength had not recovered, how could I be in such a sorry state? As they chased after each other, terrifying shockwaves exploded in all directions. One mountain after another was destroyed by the giant undead beast. Devil St. Kong Chio had no room to resist at all, and could only run as fast as he could. Chapter 709. The might of the Yellow Spring River. Isn't this our great demon saint? Why is he in such a sorry state? Yang Hanwu couldn't help but laugh when he saw Demon St. Kong Chio. This guy was in such a sorry state that he looked completely different from when he left. Demon St. Kong Chio's face darkened. He didn't have time to refute Yang Hongwu's mockery, so he shouted, "Yang Hongwu, we're in trouble. You and I have to work together now. Otherwise, it won't be good for either of us." "Oh? What kind of powerful enemy did you encounter? Besides, you're much stronger than me. Plus, you have the Demon Saint's Arkansas. In the witch world, you're like a fish in water with the Demon Saint's Arkansas. Ordinary beasts won't be afraid of you at all," Yang Hanwu said. In fact, Yang Hanwu had seen everything. He knew very well that Demon St. Kong Chio had encountered the giant undead beast. However, the giant undead beast was indeed very powerful. It wasn't something that ordinary people could deal with. Even Yang Hanwu, who had the Yama's note, the Heaven Punishment Battle Diagram, and the Heavenly Sorcerer's Jar, didn't have full confidence in dealing with it. However, if he couldn't deal with it, escaping wouldn't be a problem. "It's coming!" Demon St. Kong Chio shouted at Yang Hanwu, "Hurry up and use your Heaven Punishment Battle Diagram. Otherwise, we'll be in trouble. There's no way we can escape." Roar! An earth-shattering roar was heard. A ferocious-looking giant undead beast appeared in the void. Its body was covered in raging black flames. Horrifying bone spikes stood tall on its back. With a violent shake, the bone spikes shot out like terrifying spears from the void. It was filled with the aura of destruction and the power of death. This is the shadow of the spear of death. How is this possible? Sher Bauer's eyes widened as he exclaimed. How could a giant undead beast use the shadow of the spear of death? This was too shocking. The giant undead beast was known to be a beast with low intelligence. However, this giant undead beast was able to throw out the bone spikes on its back. Furthermore, the bone spikes contained the terrifying power of death and aura of death. The Spear of Death was an ancient emperor weapon with boundless power. When it was unleashed, it was enough to destroy the heavens and earth and kill an emperor realm expert. Even if it was just the shadow of the Spear of Death, it was still a very terrifying existence. Ordinary martial artists in the Great Sage Realm would not be able to withstand it. That was why Sher Bauer was so shocked when he saw the bone spear coming at him. In fact, as a life gem, Sher Bauer was especially sensitive to the aura of the death spear. He hated it and didn't like it at all. The phantom image of the Spear of Death seemed as though it was going to pierce through the heavens and earth. They charged towards Yang Hanwu and the others. Damn it! Demon St. Kong Chio was at the front and bore the brunt of the attack. At this moment, he was extremely enraged. However, there was nothing he could do. He could only use his greatest strength to defend against this terrifying attack. Sacrifice for a righteous cause. Devil Saint chanted, and a majestic devil energy burst out, condensing into a majestic Confucian figure in the void. This Confucian figure held a sword in his hand, and with a wave of his sword, a huge sword chi covered the entire sky. The dense sword chi condensed together, trying to block the attack of the terrifying death spear. Bang! 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 The two mighty forces collided with each other, causing an earth-shattering explosion. It was as if the entire world was going to be destroyed. Terrifying cracks appeared in the void and a terrifying spatial storm erupted from the cracks. It seemed as though it was going to sweep everyone in. Yang Hanwu quickly retreated. The powerful impact stopped the giant undead beast from chasing after him. Demon Saint Kong Chiu had consumed a lot of energy. He summoned the Demon Saint's boat and came in front of Yang Hanwu. He shouted, "Come in." Smiling, Yang Hanwu leaped into the air and entered the Devil Saint's Arkansas. This guy was going to leave at the beginning. But now, he came back. That attack just now had consumed a lot of his energy. It took him a lot of effort to block the attack of the giant undead beast. If there was another attack, he wouldn't be able to block it at all. Demon Saint is indeed the Demon Saint. Your strength is so strong that even the shadow of the Spear of Death could be blocked so easily. Admirable, truly admirable. Yang Hanwu said with a smile. Don't talk so much nonsense. If it wasn't for the fact that I haven't recovered my strength, how would I be in such a sorry state? That damned beast. As soon as he heard Yang Hanwu mention this, Demon Saint Kong Chiu was enraged. It wasn't easy for him to get out of the seal. At the beginning, he was restricted by Yang Hanwu and almost became his slave. Only then did he manage to break free from Yang Hanwu's control. Now, he had no choice but to cooperate with Yang Hanwu to block the giant undead beast. There was nothing more humiliating than this. But in order to survive, he had to do this. Yang Hanwu, stop this guy quickly. Otherwise, we'll all die. Okay. Yang Hanwu also knew that the situation was serious. This giant undead beast wasn't weak. It wouldn't be easy to deal with it. He waved his hand and the Yama's note flew out. At this time, the giant Yellow Spring River in the Yama's note underwent some changes. As if it had sensed something, it turned into a giant yellow dragon and flew out. Yang Hanwu felt incredulous. The Yellow Spring River in Yama's invitation had actually turned into a giant dragon. The strength of this giant dragon was very powerful. It actually had the aura of a great sage. It was enough to contend with the powerhouse of the great sage realm. This is the Netherworld Divine Dragon? Chiyu opened his eyes wide. Chiyu was from the Wu tribe. He knew about the Wu tribe before the Great War of Witchcraft and Demons. For a long time, the Wu tribe was more powerful than the Demon tribe. However, the Demon tribe had a sage, while the Wu tribe didn't. Later, the ancestor of the Wu tribe, Hutu, turned into reincarnation and established the 6 paths of reincarnation and the 18 layers of hell. At that time, the Wu tribe lost Hutu. The 12 ancestors of witches could no longer set up the 12 heavenly capital formation and couldn't activate the real body of Pangu. As a result, the strength of the Wu tribe was greatly reduced. The Demon tribe took advantage of this and fought with the Wu tribe. In the end, the Wu tribe and the Demon tribe had an earth-shattering battle. Even the Pillar of Heaven was broken, leading to the destruction of the untainted land. Finally, the 3 realms were rebuilt under the supreme power of the Tao ancestor and the sage. In the Heaven realm, there was the 9 heavens Milky Way. In contrast, in the Yama's underworld, there was the Yellow Spring River. In the Yellow Spring River, there was a Netherworld Divine Dragon. It was a powerful existence of the sage-to-be. In this world, it was an expert of the great saint level. The giant yellow dragon in front of him was exactly the same as the legendary Netherworld Divine Dragon. Chiyu suspected that it was the Netherworld Divine Dragon. Yang Hongwu's luck is really heaven-defying. He even obtained the Underworld Holy Dragon. It's too shocking and too enviable. The netherworld divine dragon opened its huge claws and clawed at the giant dead spirit beast. Chapter 7:10. Devour a Rip. After all, a dragon was a dragon. The underworld holy dragon was extremely powerful. Even if it was not at its peak, its strength was still very terrifying. Its powerful strength suppressed the undead behemoth in an instant. Boom! With a loud bang, the giant undead beast's huge body was sent flying by the underworld holy dragon. It only stopped after flying for dozens of meters. Cruel and domineering. Good guy, kill that bastard. Yang Hongwu shouted. The underworld holy dragon seemed to understand Yang Hongwu's words. It opened its sharp dragon claws and charged at the undead behemoth again. The power rumbled and surged. It was like the surging waves of the ocean, howling as it rose, wanting to topple the entire world. His entire body was emitting a yellow light, and his energy was condensed and extremely domineering. The giant undead spirit beast roared into the sky. Its voice was like thunder, as if it was going to shatter the entire world. As it roared, the huge body of the undead behemoth seemed to be burning. A black aura surrounded its huge body, and endless demonic flames surged. With a stomp of his foot, the ground shattered, and cracks appeared. Let me out. At this time, a voice appeared in Yang Hongwu's spiritual sea. It was the voice of the Heaven Punishing Battle Diagram. The Heaven Punishing Battle Diagram wanted to use this opportunity to strengthen itself. Yang Hongwu nodded and released it. The Heaven Punishment Battle Diagram seemed to have turned into a heavenly canopy that covered the sky and the sun, covering the entire world. Tun tun tun. All of you, get over here. At this moment, the Heaven Punishment Battle Diagram seemed to have turned into a huge black hole, swallowing the 4 spiritual beasts around it. There was only one giant undead beast, but there were other small beasts, or rather, the giant undead beast's underlings. Although the giant undead beast's intelligence was not high, it still had countless followers. These followers are also very strong, but the Heaven Punishment Battle Diagram is their nemesis. It can devour these undead spirit beasts. At the same time, Yang Hongwu's cultivation was also increasing. Although the speed was not fast, it was still increasing. In this way, it would be much faster than Yang Hongwu's own cultivation. Boom! Seeing its underlings being massacred, the giant undead beast was completely enraged. Its terrifying aura became even more violent, and its huge body became even bigger. Damn it, all of you! The frenzied giant undead spirit beast unleashed its most terrifying innate ability, causing its combat power to skyrocket. That horrifying power seemed as though it was going to destroy the entire world. The space started to vibrate violently, as though it was going to be destroyed in the face of this tyrannical power. Roar! The underworld holy dragon roared, "How dare you be so arrogant in front of me, little 4 spiritual beasts!" As the undead beast grew bigger, the underworld holy dragon grew even bigger. A huge phantom appeared, and huge laws condensed. These huge power of laws were like chains, and these chains bound the undead beast in an instant. Roar! The giant undead dragons the undead dragon, the giant undead dragon. But at this time, the underworld holy dragon would not let it do as it wished. It opened its huge mouth and swallowed the giant undead beast. Kacha kacha. The giant undead beast was chewed and swallowed by the underworld holy dragon. Seeing this scene, everyone was stunned. After the underworld holy dragon swallowed the giant undead beast, it turned into a yellow light and entered Yama's note. Yang Hongwu's body shook. A powerful force from Yama's note was fed back to Yang Hongwu's body. Yang Hongwu only felt that this force was too strong. It was as if his whole body was about to explode. The meridians in his body were exploding little by little. His primordial spirit was constantly growing, like a huge balloon that was constantly being inflated. Damn it! Yang Hongwu did not expect this. The underworld holy dragon in Yama's note had swallowed the giant undead beast. The giant undead beast's body contained a terrifying amount of energy. The Yama's note couldn't digest all of it. So, the excess energy could only rush to its master, Yan Hongwu. Yan Hongwu secretly complained. He couldn't devour it at all. Although his body was strong and he had the 9 Dragons Saint body, his current cultivation realm was too weak. He was just a divine realm expert, not even a venerable realm expert. The giant undead spirit beast was equivalent to a great saint-level giant beast. The energy contained in its entire body was much more than an ordinary great saint-level powerhouse. What's wrong? Seeing Yang Hongwu's distorted face, Demon Saint Kong Qiu asked. Just as he was about to get closer, a figure appeared. It was Shi Bao'er, who was blocking the great Demon Saint Kong Qiu. This guy is not a good person. Yang Hongwu is at a critical juncture now. If he is affected by the great Demon Saint, he will be in big trouble. Gem of Life? Demon Saint Kong Qiu saw Shi Bao'er's figure and was surprised. It's the Gem of Life. This is too shocking. Humph, back off. Shi Bao'er said coldly. If you were at your peak and your true body was here, I might be afraid. But now, you're just a demonic thought of Confucius Saint. If you want to harm Yan Hongwu, I'll turn you into ashes. Don't worry. Demon Saint Kong Qiu shook his head. I won't harm him. I've already made a heavenly oath. If I do, I'll face the wrath of heaven and die without a burial place. I'm not that stupid. I haven't become Saint Kong yet, so I won't take the risk. You should worry about him for now. The underworld divine dragon devoured the giant undead beast. It couldn't completely digest the huge amount of energy, so it was transferred to Yan Hongwu. His cultivation is too low, so he can't absorb or digest such a huge amount of energy. If he can't refine it in time, I'm afraid he'll explode and die, Demon Saint Kong Qiu said. You don't have to worry about that. I believe he can handle it, Shi Bao'er said calmly. Shi Bao'er had full confidence in Yan Hongwu. If he couldn't even digest a part of the giant undead beast's energy, then Yan Hongwu didn't deserve the 9 Dragons Saint body. At this moment, divine dragons appeared in Yan Hongwu's body. Dragon roars resounded as the divine dragons swam around Yan Hongwu's body, constantly devouring the huge amount of energy from the giant undead beast. At the same time, Yan Hongwu's body became stronger and stronger, and so did Yan Hongwu's primordial spirit. 1 breath. 10 breaths. A quarter of an hour. An hour. Time flew. In just a few hours, the huge amount of energy was finally digested. You're tuning into the Mythic Realms YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.